Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Mother Mountain. Better late than never. And we're straight into action with the juniors. And a very interesting car out the front. You'll see as he zooms by, it's got New South Wales written on the top of the car. He is the current New South Wales RSA champion, and he's up here tonight competing with our junior cars, the Northern Truck cars. That's Max Clark. Talking to the young fellow earlier down at Scrutineering, he was just going to putt around and see what the racetrack was like. Have a look at the young fellow. This is just testing out the racetrack. Wait till he gets down to the serious business later on tonight. Great to have him up here from Lismore. Max Clark is the boy behind the wheel of the Corolla. 15 on the car. New South Wales 1 on the roof. And he's doing a great job in front of Brad Jennings, who is also doing a good job back there in second place. One of the new drivers in the juniors in their first up heat here tonight. Back behind him is Sam Cordy. That's roof number 29. Back behind him will be car number 6 of Chris Pagel. And at the moment at the back is Jamie Budgeon in car number 93. The other car out there is 92. We'll pick up a driver for that very shortly. Have a look at young Max Clark. Never seen the racetrack until this afternoon. And right now, he has bolted away from the rest of the field. Good job back there by Brad Jennings, who is doing a great job holding on to second place. Behind him now is Chris Pagel in the 6 car. Moving Sam Cordy back one more as they're through the hairpin and up the main straight away again. The little Corolla going great guns. Bit of a problem there for Brad Jennings. Off comes the back guard in the hairpin as sneaking through, taking full advantage of that. Jamie Budgeon inherits second place, and Brad Jennings has gone from second way back to fourth and left one of the panels of the car back there in the hairpin corner. The race leader doing a great job. Max Clark is the name of the young fellow, and he's up there about to put a lap on car number 92. He's got 2 laps of the Mother Mountain circuit to go. Jamie Budgeon is in second place. Chris Pagel chasing in third. Back then we go to Brad Jennings, it would be, and Sam Cordy, but it's an all-the-way win up the main straight. The white flag, 1 to go for young Max Clark. And he has absolutely destroyed the opposition in the first outing of the juniors here tonight. Jamie Budgeon is going to come under some attention from Chris Pagel through the top corner into the hairpin for the last time. And it is Max Clark up the main straight away, and a first up win for the New South Welshman. And he will be extremely happy about that. Jamie Budgeon wins the Falcon home in position number 2 from Chris Pagel in 3. Well, as he rolls around, folks, put your hands together for the young guy. Max Clark has not seen the racetrack previously, has come out here and has blitzed the juniors. Event number 6 on our program here tonight, and don't forget, folks, if you're looking for something delicious to eat, the main canteen and the hill canteen, lovely hot food awaiting for you. If you're looking for a nice cold drink, the bar area is there, and well, we ask you to drink responsibly. Car 20 is Tiffany O'Keefe. Brett Baxter is in 5. 18 is Brandon O'Keefe. 14 is Trent Humphreys. And plenty more action still to come. And looks like we're getting serious with the juniors. Coming around the hairpin and heading up the main straight away. Alicia Jochimson and Ben Rosso, that's the front row. Lights are green for the juniors and off and running, and Alicia gets it all wrong up on the infield. The racetrack a little bit wet. Got to control the motor car first as through the top corner goes Ben Rosso. Brett Baxter in hot pursuit, and Trent Humphreys 1 and 3 of the big names in the junior sedan racing as they go through the hairpin. Ben Rosso leads them at the moment. Brett Baxter, though, moves to the outside and goes into the race lead as they go through the dipper. Ben Rosso tries to fight back on the inside. No answer to it. Looking for Trent Humphreys. He's in third position, and following him is Brandon O'Keefe, with Tiffany O'Keefe the next one. Into the hairpin as Ben Rosso goes very, very wide, right out towards the white bits, and that allows Trent Humphreys to sneak through in car number 14. Ben Rosso fights back, sending Brandon O'Keefe onto the infield, and Tiffany O'Keefe would be a distant fifth place. Back then we've got Alicia Jockimson to the better of Michael Budgeon in 94, and right to the tail is Michelle Blavius in the hairpin and in trouble, overdoing it completely as Brett Baxter, he comes back out onto the racetrack, but it's too late. Trent Humphreys has gone by, as has Ben Rosso. Tucked in there now with him is Brandon O'Keefe, so they're going to argue about third position. Down on the inside is Brandon O'Keefe on Ben Rosso. We'll watch these pair as they arrive at the hairpin. Trent Humphreys doing a good job out in front. Brandon O'Keefe trying desperately to stay down on the inside of Ben Rosso. Has been able to do so. Goes through into position number 2. Back behind him now, Ben Rosso. In fourth position is still Brett Baxter. Tiffany O'Keefe would be the next one. Michael Budgeon and Michelle Blavius. That's the way, along with Alicia Jockimson. And those two are in trouble of being lapped as car number 14. Trent Humphreys starts to close in on them. Brandon O'Keefe has got himself through into position number 2 in front of Brett Baxter. Ben Rosso would be the next one. Tiffany O'Keefe and Michael Budgeon arguing out the minor placings in the hairpin, and goodness only knows what Trent Humphreys was trying to do. There was no room down there, and he's going to lose his race lead. In fact, he's going to go right back into position number 3 as he tried to go underneath Michelle Blavius, who had the line going into the hairpin, and has lost the race lead to Brandon O'Keefe. In the big Falcon, number 18, through the hairpin he goes. He's still got Brett Baxter chasing him. Back to Trent Humphreys in third, but a body panel dragging on the back of car number 5 of Brett Baxter. Back in next position would be Ben Rosso, but he's out of contention now back there in position number 4. Michael Budgeon would be the next one, and then Tiffany O'Keefe. The race leader is in the hairpin and heading up the main straightaway. That's Brandon O'Keefe doing a great job out the front of car number 5 of Brett Baxter, who doesn't seem to be able to close the gap on him. Trent Humphreys would be the next one. Long way back then to Ben Rosso. A race leader though in the hairpin. That's Brandon O'Keefe. Through the hairpin he goes. Corrects it a little coming onto the main straightaway. Heads up the main straight and finds the white flag waiting for him. Back in second place, Brett Baxter won't give it away, but he can't close that gap. Trent Humphreys would be the next one. And Ben Rosso a distant fourth to the better of Michael Budgeon. Next one through is Alicia Jockimson, Michelle Blavius, and then Tiffany O'Keefe. But the race leader up the main straightaway and takes the checkered flag, and a win to Brandon O'Keefe. Next one home would have been Brett Baxter. And into position number 3 will be Trent Humphreys in car number 14. Second heat of the juniors here tonight. Brandon O'Keefe showing the way in the Falcon. Watch for the green one with the juniors. It'll be nice and slippery for them, and hopefully they will understand. We'll settle down to work out the racetrack as it is. Through the top corner, it's Jamie Budgeon. Right behind him, though, is Brandon O'Keefe. Tiffany O'Keefe in third. Then we go back to Brad Jennings, and behind them will be Max Clark. with Sam Cordy on the outside in car number 29. The other car out there, Hamish Redmond, but doing a good job. Jamie Budgeon worked out the racetrack, trying to stay cool as Tiffany O'Keefe slips back a little bit through the field. As they head down the back chute, it is Jamie Budgeon. Brandon O'Keefe, he's got all four wheels locked up, arriving at the hairpin. Doesn't make any difference on the wet track. Now he's under power as they come through the hairpin and up the main straightaway. Jamie Budgeon, Brandon O'Keefe is in car number 18. Back to Brad Jennings doing a good job, and then young Max Clark out of Lismore. First appearance on the racetrack and then has already got a win under his belt. He's up into position number 4 and to the better of Tiffany O'Keefe, and then we go back to Hamish Redmond. Sam Cordy through the hairpin. And now Brandon O'Keefe starting to look a little bit interested on an inside pass on young Jamie Budgeon. He shuts the door on him now, heading into the canteen corner and through the Dever. Jamie Budgeon doing a good job out in front, controlling the big car. We've got Sam Cordy the wrong way. Now we've got Tiffany O'Keefe doing the 360 waltz coming out of the hairpin. While this is happening though, Jamie Budgeon is the race leader into the hairpin. He's got Brandon O'Keefe right on his hammer. Back then to Brad Jennings, trying to hold on to his third position as Max Clark thinks about the outside pass. Brad Jennings holding on, but for how long we'll have to wait and see. They head through the top corner. Jamie Budgeon, he's got the Falcon in front, but he's got Brandon O'Keefe all over him behind. Looks for the inside this time, it's nothing there. Jamie Budgeon closes the door on him. Both cars drift slowly through the hairpin. Brandon O'Keefe might think of the outside. Now he slips back on the inside, whether or not there's enough traction. Jamie Budgeon's got him up on the infield and he pulls out of that encounter. Back in third position now would be Max Clark. He's got through in the Corolla to position number 3 to the better of Brad Jennings. Back then I think would be Hamish. Race leader in the hairpin. They're up on some lap traffic with Tiffany O'Keefe, the first one. Jamie Budgeon moves to the outside. Brandon O'Keefe right behind him. Jamie Budgeon, I think the car just expired. Big flame out of the exhaust pipe of the car and it's rolled to a halt. Hard luck for Jamie Budgeon as he's pulled it up in the dipper and cannot get it off the racetrack. Down the main, or down the back straight, we'll find Brandon O'Keefe. Hard luck there for Jamie. He was holding the race lead. The thing went under the control tower, flame out of the exhaust, and it's just stopped. The checkered flag has come out, and I would imagine that that would be a win for Brandon O'Keefe in 18. Max Clark in second, and probably Brad Jennings into position number 3. We have a watch handed difficult act to follow. Trent Humphreys is back behind the wheel of car 14. Chris Pagel is in 6. Elisa Jochimson in 4. Ben Rosso in 91. Michael Budgeon is 94. Brett Baxter is in 5, and Michelle Barbius is in car 36. Junior's off and running, and Trent Humphreys it is who goes into the race lead. Going with him is Chris Pagel, and coming right around from the top, Brett Baxter is up there in position number 3. Back behind them would be car number 91, and that's Ben Rosso, but at the moment through the hairpin, Trent Humphreys is the race leader. Chris Pagel chasing him, and Brett Baxter still looking for the outside pass. Has got another one, and now he moves up on the tail of Trent Humphreys, staying right up close to the concrete. Brett Baxter looking for the race lead. Trent Humphreys holds it as they go round the top corner, slips down on the inside as Brett Baxter doesn't want to do that as they come towards the hairpin. Car 94 is chasing them through there. That's Michael Budgeon through the hairpin as Ben Rosso carries the little Mazda right up high. Trent Humphreys in all sorts of trouble coming out of the hairpin, and that's just what Brett Baxter was waiting for. And Brett Baxter goes to the race lead over Chris Pagel. They're all taking the infield route, coming off the hairpin, putting another right-hand turn in it as they arrive at the hairpin. Brett Baxter staying out wide, up on the cushion, so to speak, and heads up the main straightaway. Brett Baxter, comfortable leader. Chris Pagel still chasing him, is back there in position number 2. And Trent Humphreys has got back for 3, but a long way back behind them. Michelle Blavius is still there as well. Car 94 is Michael Budgeon going the wrong way. Now pulls onto the infield. Car number 4 still going around is Elisa Jochimson. Up the main straightaway as they put a lap on Ben Rosso is Brett Baxter. Staying out of the slippery stuff and staying up high on the racetrack and doing a good job of it as well. Chris Pagel in a good second position as Ben Rosso turns it around the top corner. Back then to Trent Humphreys. And Michelle Blavius also doing a good job staying out of trouble as Ben Rosso gets the car mobile again, but the yellow car of Quinton Clark to lead them away. Lights are green and Brett Baxter leads them away. Chris Pagel in behind him, getting a little bit of a helping hand from Trent Humphreys. But they settle down with Michelle Blavius back there in position number 4. Trent Humphreys looks for the inside on young Pagel as they arrive at the hairpin. Calls the jam off, not wanting to get down too low in the real muddy stuff. But Brett Baxter is the race leader. Chris Pagel, Trent Humphreys and Michelle Blavius, with the other car still on the racetrack being Alicia Jochimson in car number 4. No change as Brett Baxter is just out there and running away with this one. Chris Pagel can't close the gap to him. Trent Humphreys, no matter how he tries either, can't close the gap as Chris Pagel gets it really taily coming off the hairpin. Got about a lap and a half to go for Brett Baxter. Coming up on the tail of Alicia Jochimson, but maybe she will escape being lapped as Brett Baxter takes the white one. One to go for him. Chris Pagel is not secure yet in his position too. Trent Humphreys is still after him. Michelle Blavius would be the next one. But Brett Baxter is about to put another win under his belt in car number 5. He's right on the tail of Alicia Jochimson, but she will take the white flag in front of him. So Brett Baxter is the winner. Chris Pagel home in position number 2. And Trent Humphreys takes out the minor place. Car number 14. Okay. Modified juniors find their way out onto the racetrack. Sam Cordy will lead them away. Trent Humphreys is in 14. Tiffany O'Keefe's in 20. Brandon O'Keefe is in 18. Max Clark, our Lismore visitor out there in the Corolla, is the Lismore car number 15. And Ben Rosso behind the wheel of car number 91. Of the racetrack with the Campbell's backhoe and a truck hire car, or truck out there on the highway is where you find them. Off and running for the juniors. Trent Humphreys on the outside of Sam Cordy as they head towards the top corner. Sam Cordy down on the inside. Trent Humphreys on the outside. Side by side they go down the back straight away, and it's Trent Humphreys who gets the better of the encounter, heading to hairpin for the first time from Sam Cordy. Next one in there will be Brandon O'Keefe. Max Clark is in the New South Wales car number 15 doing battle with Brandon O'Keefe in the Falcon. While this is happening, Trent Humphreys is going to try desperately to put enough gap between himself and the rest of the field to come up with his first win of the night. Sam Cordy goes a little high. Brandon O'Keefe down on the inside of him. Pulls off the turn, off the pass in the hairpin turn. Inherits second place. Going with him too is young Max Clark. He moves up into position number 3 and they shuffle Sam Cordy back into 4. Back then in car number 91 will be Ben Rosso, and that's the way they head down the back straightaway and into the hairpin. Trent Humphreys got Brandon O'Keefe chasing in hot pursuit, and slipping down on the inside is young Max Clark. He's doing up a great job in the Corolla. Remember, this is the first time he's seen the racetrack, and he and Brandon O'Keefe are really at hammer and tong in the top corner. Brandon O'Keefe will do him for straight line speed. We'll wait and see what happens. He closes right up in the hairpin as Trent Humphreys still leads the way. Heading for the infield is Ben Rosso. The battle royal is between the little Corolla and the Falcon as they go through the dipper and around the top corner. It's still Trent Humphreys, the race leader. Brandon O'Keefe is still chasing him hard in position 2, and back behind him is still Max Clark in the Corolla number 15. Gets it a little bit sideways going into the hairpin, saves it well and heads up the main straightaway, chasing Brandon O'Keefe. A long way back. We'd have to go, I think, all the way back to Ben Rosso in 91, and then Tiffany O'Keefe in car 20 doing battle now with Sam Cordy. Into the hairpin, and Trent Humphreys, they're slowly ruling him in. Brandon O'Keefe would close the gap probably by half that time around. Whether or not he's got enough laps to do anything about it, in fact he's only got 2 to go. Max Clark, good position there in 3rd place. Long way back would find Ben Rosso. Out of contention in this one, will have to be satisfied with a 4th placing. But Brandon O'Keefe has closed right up on Trent Humphreys. Got a lap car to worry about as they move up on car number 92 with 1 to go. White flag being out. Will Trent Humphreys get around the outside? Moves to the outside, going around the top corner. Have a look at Brandon O'Keefe just sitting there. Decides to slip down the inside. Side by side they go. Trent Humphreys, has he got enough? Into the hairpin for the last time. Trent Humphreys is in 14. Brandon O'Keefe is right on his hammer, but he won't be able to do anything about it up the hill for the last time. And Trent Humphreys takes it out from Brandon O'Keefe, and a good drive from Max Clark into position number 3. Well, young Trent's been there and about all night, and he's finally got up to take one. Had to wait for the 3rd round of heats, and Trent Humphreys takes out a win from Brandon O'Keefe, and Max Clark out of Lismore into position affordable price. And I can guarantee that the receiver of something from the Suncoast Gold Macadamias will be very happy come Christmas morning. Lights are out as they roll around for the restart. It's the green one off and running. Hamish Redmond down on the inside versus Brett Baxter on the outside. Brett Baxter stays up nice and high. Hamish stays down low as they head around the top corner. It will be Brett Baxter who'll have enough legs out of the Commodore to go into the race lead from Hamish Redmond. Back then to Chris Pagel, and behind him would be Brad Jennings as they head up the main straightaway to complete 1 lap of the journey. And Brett Baxter starting to run away now in car number 5 from Hamish Redmond. Chris Pagel, Brad Jennings there in car number 22. We go back to Alicia Jochimson, and at the back is Michelle Blavius. Through the hairpin and up the main straightaway for Brett Baxter. Starting to run away from Hamish Redmond, who's got it all wrong heading into the canteen corner. takes a little bit of an excursion across the infield, comes back out onto the racetrack and finds Chris Pagel trying to find some racing room around the outside of him. Hamish fights back though on the inside. Chris Pagel will just sit behind him through the hairpin and see what eventuates. While this is happening, Brett Baxter is just running away. Hamish Redmond's in 72, Chris Pagel is in 6. A long way back then to Brad Jennings in 22, to the better of Alicia Jochimson and Michelle Blavius. And then we're back to our race leader in Brett Baxter, who's right up high on the concrete. Plenty of power under his foot in car number 5. Hamish Redmond still doing battle with Chris Pagel. Chris thinks about the outside pass again, but the tail gets too far out for him. And Hamish is able to hold him at bay. Chris Pagel this time down the outside. The two of them a little bit wary of each other. They arrive at the hairpin with Hamish Redmond trying to keep the escort down low on the racetrack. Chris Pagel thinks of an outsider. Now the tail wobbles around again. We'll pick up the race leader. He's about to put a lap on Michelle Blavius down in the hairpin. The action for second place is about half a lap behind him, and further back behind them then would be Brad Jennings. We'll follow the second place encounter. That's Hamish Redmond. Chris Pagel overdoes things coming into the hairpin, gets himself up on the infield, doesn't go backwards a place and holds on to his second place, but with 2 laps to go, will be difficult to run down Hamish from there. The white flag out for Brett Baxter. He's only got a lap to go and he's going to take out this heat of the juniors. We'll go back to Hamish Redmond, who's done a good job holding on to his second place, trying desperately to keep the car nice and tidy. Up the main straight away he goes, with Chris Pagel still chasing him back there in third place. And the next one through would be Brad Jennings, who's got a lap to go. But our race leader has completed the journey, and a fairly comfortable win too, to Brett Baxter. We've got to wait through the hairpin. It'll be a good drive for young Hamish. Gets the tail wobbling around a little bit, but he'll hold on to come home in second place sideways across the racetrack, to the better of Chris Pagel in position number 3, and Brad Jennings greets the judge in position number 4. Okay, we've got the juniors on the racetrack, folks, ready for their feature event, and Brandon O'Keefe to lead them away in the Gympie car number 18. Outside of him is car number 5, that of Brett Baxter. Our Lismore visitor up there, Max Clark, he's had a big night. Car number 14 beside him in the second row. Out of Caboolture is Trent Humphreys. Chris Pagel is there in car number 6. Brad Jennings is car 22. Hamish Redmond back for some more in car number 72. That's the escort. Ben Rosso is in 91. Tiffany O'Keefe out there in car number 20. Alicia Jochimson is there in car number 4, and Sam Cordy, I think, is at the back there in car 29. That's the field of juniors to face the starter for their first of our feature races. 15 laps the journey for the juniors. B main for the modified productions will follow. Michelle Blavius rolling out there in car number 36 as well. So in the modified productions, the B main will, or the A main, takes on the top 18 cars for the first of the feature races. And Brandon O'Keefe on the inside has Brett Baxter on the outside, and these two have been at it hammer and tong so far this season. Brandon O'Keefe down on the inside, Brett Baxter on the out. Slipping through is Max Clark, but he drifts a little wide and allows Trent Humphreys to slip underneath, but Max Clark comes back underneath him in the hairpin. Trent Humphreys tries to shut the door on him, can't do so. Down on the inside, it's the New South Wales Corolla of Max Clark. Up on the inside of Trent Humphreys, who has to concede, let him past. Chris Pagel would be the next one. Brandon O'Keefe is the race leader as Max Clark overdoes things coming off the hairpin. Brett Baxter up nice and high. Brandon O'Keefe staying down low. Brett Baxter moves down on the inside this time as Brandon O'Keefe went up to block the passageway through. Brett Baxter using all of the racetrack and then some more and then turns it around in front of Brandon O'Keefe. Well, just about ready, off and running for Brandon O'Keefe over Trent Humphreys. Getting away very quickly was Hamish Redmond doing battle there with Max Clark, who fights back, overdoes things a little coming off the top corner, allowing the three lead cars to skip away. It's Brandon O'Keefe, Trent Humphreys. Chris Pagel would be the next one. Hamish Redmond, we got a real battle here between Brad Jennings and Ben Rosso. They sort themselves out, find enough racetrack for each of them and continue on their way. And there's some problems, I think, for our New South Wales visitor. In fact, he's calling it quits and bringing the Toyota onto the infield. While this is happening, Brandon O'Keefe is the race leader from Trent Humphreys, doing a good job out there. Those two cars, Trent Humphreys down the inside, looking for a race lead. Remember, these are juniors, 12 to 17 years of age, not old enough to be driving on the highways, but look at the skill behind the wheel. Brandon O'Keefe, Trent Humphreys, both of them will be in Maryborough for the National Junior Sedan title. Both of them have ASCF cars. Chris Pagel is back there in third. Back then to Hamish Redmond it would be, with Sam Cordy looking for a way around the outside. And then Brett Baxter has made himself back to the pointy end of the field. Race leader Brandon O'Keefe starting to lap some of the slower vehicles. He's still got Trent Humphreys right on his hammer. Trent won't let him go away. They've put a couple of laps again, heading now for car number 4. So the next one, that's Alicia Jochimson. The next one in their sights, down low on the racetrack, is Brandon O'Keefe. He's still got Trent Humphreys right there with him. Way back third, I think you'll find, is Chris Pagel. Just starting to put some lapping time between him and the other cars, but back at the race lead, Brandon O'Keefe in car number 18 is the race leader in the junior street sedan feature, as Trent Humphreys has another look down the inside. Side by side, the two of them go into the hairpin, and again Brandon O'Keefe is able to shut the door on him. He won't want to leave too many more gaps like that. Brandon O'Keefe in the White Bay Hydraulics Falcon leads the BOR Exhaust Centre car. Trent Humphreys a long way back in third place. I think you'll find it's still Chris Pagel, which it is. Hamish Redmond would be the next one, and he's about to have Brett Baxter arrive on the scene around the outside, so he moves up into position number 4, and Sam Cordy is going with him. Back at the race lead in the top corner, Brandon O'Keefe, Trent Humphreys, locked together in battle right from the dropping of the green flag. They've got a big pack of lapped cars in front of them now. Michelle Blavius is the first one of those. Brandon O'Keefe knows that Trent Humphreys is not far away. He just keeps there. He won't go away. Big lot of cars in front now as Brandon O'Keefe moves up on Michelle Blavius. We'll have a look down the inside into the hairpin. This might be Trent Humphreys' big opportunity. Can he find his way through the lap traffic better than Brandon O'Keefe? They're up on Tiffany. That's the next one. They've moved Michelle Blavius. He's put a car between him and Trent Humphreys, but now Trent's come followed him through down the back chute. Tiffany O'Keefe is the next one in front of them. Trent Humphreys has a look down the inside.
forces Brandon O'Keefe up nice and wide, tries to shut the door, but it won't matter. Tiffany O'Keefe is still there. Brandon O'Keefe will have to drive around the outside. Trent Humphreys has got the break down the inside and will go to the race lead as they head down the back chute for the next to last time. Brad Jennings is the next one in front of them. Trent Humphreys is the new race leader up the main straight away. There's the white one. Brandon O'Keefe is right on his hammer. He moves to the inside. Trent Humphreys shuts the door on him going round the top corner, and Brandon O'Keefe has spun it around. Can he get going back before Chris Pagel arrives? Here comes Brett Baxter down the inside and will go into second place. Up the main straight away, Trent Humphreys takes the checkered flag and a win. The big challenge now between Brett Baxter from the back of the pack into position number 2. And Brandon O'Keefe will have to be satisfied with third. Trent Humphreys has got through to win the Junior Street Sedan final. Good drive, he just kept working away, never gave in. From the back of the pack, Brett Baxter has been able to get back into position number 2, and after leading for 13 of the 15 laps, Brandon O'Keefe will have to be satisfied with position number 3. Onto the racetrack. The other one out there we've just picked up, Peter Lyon, of course, in car number 32. So a monster field of street sedans to face the starter 8 laps. The journey, watch for a green one as they roll up the main straightaway, off and running, and getting a little bit of helping hand around the outside was Al Nottage. He's dropped back behind car 27, Doug Rigby, as they head around the top corner for the first time. The water truck making things just a little bit tricky for these guys, but Al Nottage leads the charge into the hairpin for the first time in front of Frank Packer. Doug Rigby would be the next one, but he's coming under plenty of pressure from Joel Wilson around the outside. Tries to force his way down the middle. Nigel Mulvanna with a big run around the outside as well, finds Al Nottage in all sorts of trouble up against the fence. We'll see if they can sort themselves out. Al Nottage has dropped back through the race field. Pick up the race leader. It will be Frank Packer through the hairpin and up the main straightaway on the second of 8. Back behind him in car 27 will be Doug Rigby. Tim Aitken it is getting from the back of the pack in car number 15 in front of Nigel Mulvanna, who has got a bit of panel damage to the brand new Commodore. Back behind him is Joel Wilson in 92, and then we've got Gavin Lawrenson, who has come right from the back of the pack in front of Christian Walker. That's the first group of cars, and where the winner of this event will come from, and Frank Packer. Car number 99 out of Maryborough, doing a good job to the better of Doug Rigby, who's got his hands full now with Tim Aitken in hot pursuit. And then we've got Nigel Mulvanna in 42. The Battle Royal is between Gavin Lawrenson and Joel Wilson, with Christian Walker trying to get involved in this little scrap as well, and chasing hard in the Excite Batteries car will be Jim Cowley as they head up towards the top corner, and Frank Packer still holds his slender lead from Doug Rigby, who is under plenty of pressure from Tim Aitken in 15. Nigel Mulvanna in 42 gets a little wide on the hairpin, trying to get away from the slippery stuff. And if anything, they've closed the gap on Frank Packer in 99. Through the dipper he goes, up to the top corner, and he will know that Doug Rigby has closed right in on him. Tim Aiken is there as well. They've dropped off Nigel Mulvena. They're coming up on Peter Lyon as Tim Aiken moves to the inside and the hairpin moves up into second place at the expense of Doug Rigby. Drops back there into third. A gap back to Nigel Mulvena being hotly pursued by Gavin Lawrenson. And they've dropped off Joel Wilson, who's falling back into the clutches of Christian Walker. Into the hairpin. The action is right up at the front of this field. With 1 lap to go, it's Frank Packer. Tim Aiken right on the bootleg. Back then to Doug Rigby. Through the top corner they go. Frank Packer won't want to leave any sort of gap down the inside of him. Tim Aiken thinks about it, arriving at the hairpin. Frank Packer tries to shut the door on him and may have done so as Tim Aiken has to drift it wide around the hairpin. Up the main straightaway, and Frank Packer it is who takes it out to the better of Tim Aiken and Doug Rigby in for position number 3. In a classic outing, the first time for the Street Sedans with Nigel Mulvena. The car coming to a halt on its maiden voyage after getting squashed up against the concrete
to the
earlier.
program. And we'll pick them up. Jim Cowley will start out of 1. Gavin Lawrenson right beside him. Christian Walker and Tim Aiken. What a front row. Have a look. Probably the 4 of the best in Street Sedans. Add Doug Rigby to that out of position 5. Alan Nottage moves up to take up his position out of 6. Frank Packer is car 99. Lester Wilcox in 56 will start out of 8. Joel Wilson is in 92. Nigel Mulvena in 42. Got the car mobile again. Keith Baxter's in 5. Add Craig Franz in 32. Trevor Oxenham in 33. And Neil Caldoulis in 8. And you have got one heck of a field of Street Sedans to face the starter, Jim Cowley. And Gavin Lawrenson off the front row. Christian Walker and Tim Aiken. Christian Walker on the inside of the second row along with Tim Aiken, and there's a little bit of argy-bargy back in the pack already. The racetrack will be still nice and slippery for these guys as they head towards Pagels for the first time. Trying to stay up nice and high as Gavin Lawrenson. Tim Aiken down low gets through into position number 2. Jim Cowley's back in 3. Then we go back to car 27 of Doug Rigby in front of Christian Walker. That's the way they arrive at the hairpin for the first time, with Neil Caldoulis, the one sneaking down the inside, game enough to try an inside run. He's got past 5 or 6 cars before they get to the hairpin for the first time, but it's Gavin Lawrence, and he's got Q1 on the roof, being chased by Tim Aiken. Jim Cowley would be the next one, but the lights are on. Racetrack just a little bit slippery. We've got car number 5.
Lights out, going racing. Jim Cowley versus Gavin Lawrenson. Off and running as Tim Aiken tries to slip down on the inside. Doug Rigby's awake to it. He's down there as well. Lester Wilcox this time stays up nice and high, and joining it is Christian Walker. We got him 3 wide going through the top corner. Down the back chute and into the hairpin for the first time. Gavin Lawrenson, Jim Cowley. Down on the inside is Doug Rigby. Tim Aiken is there as well. Lester Wilcox, Christian Walker. Then we go back to car number 8 of Neil Caldoulis to the better of Frank Packer. They've settled down to fight this one out as Tim Aiken has a look down the inside of Jim Cowley around the top corner. Cowley fights back on the outside and holds on to his second place. For the moment, it's Gavin Lawrenson it is who leads them into the hairpin. Lester Wilcox hard on the brakes as he arrives to avoid contact with Doug Rigby. One coming through underneath Frank Packer was Neil Caldoulis, and those two settle down to fight out about position 7 or 8. Round the top corner again, it's Tim Aiken down on the inside of Jim Cowley. Can't do anything about it. Doug Rigby in behind, and while this is happening, disappearing in the distance is Gavin Lawrenson. Through the hairpin, up the main straightaway. Gavin Lawrenson, Jim Cowley, Tim Aiken. That's the way they head up the main straightaway. Doug Rigby trying desperately to get on terms with them. Christian Walker doing battle with Lester Wilcox. Back to Neil Caldoulis. Frank Packer is there with Al Nottage. Have a look at the lead the Queensland champions got. Gavin Lawrenson powers it through the hairpin corner. Jim Cowley, right behind him is Tim Aitken, and right behind Tim Aitken will be Doug Rigby. They've dropped off Lester Wilcox a little bit, who's got his hands full with Christian Walker. Back then to Neil Caldoulis, long way back to Frank Packer. In the hairpin, it is all the Queensland champion, Gavin Lawrenson. A comfortable lead for Street Sedans. The battle royal is for the next 3 or 4 positions, with Jim Cowley leading Tim Aitken at the moment. Back behind him is Doug Rigby. Then we've got Lester Wilcox and Christian Walker, and those 5 are going to battle out those 5 positions through the top corner. Cowley goes a little wide. Tim Aitken can't take advantage of it. They arrive at the hairpin again. Gavin Lawrenson is the race leader and doing it easily out in front. Back a long way, about half the length of the straight now. For car number 61 of Jim Cowley, Tim Aitken and Doug Rigby. Aitken has a look underneath in the top corner. Jim Cowley fights back on the top side of the racetrack, holds on to position number 2. Doug Rigby is just tucked there waiting for some way to move on either of these cars. Up the main straightaway, Gavin Lawrenson. Tim Aitken slides into Jim Cowley coming out of the hairpin. No damage done to either car. Doug Rigby is still there. Lester Wilcox and Christian Walker back to Neil Caldoulis. Christian Walker has a look underneath. Lester Wilcox shuts the door on him for the last time in the hairpin. It is Gavin Lawrenson, and he will take out a most impressive win. The current Queensland champion takes the checkered flag. Jim Cowley holds on to finish in position 2 in front of Tim Aitken. Next run home would have been Doug Rigby, Lester Wilcox, Christian Walker in front of Neil Caldoulis. Car number 99 would have been Frank Packer. Al Nottage crosses the line in front of Trevor Oxenham. So they line up. Keith Baxter. Joel Wilson moving up to join him. Lester Wilcox should be there now with Gavin Lawrenson. Jim Cowley in the 3rd row. Looks like the Rigby car starting right at the back too. Maybe some problems with it, so it hasn't taken up its position, which allows Frank Packer to move up. Christian Walker is there as well. Al Nottage, Trevor Oxenham. Tim Aitken is in car 15. Look for a green one nice and early for the streets over the 8-lap journey. And Keith Baxter lets it drift across the racetrack, but holds the race lead through the top corner for the first time, but the thing won't come round the corner. Asks for some power out of the Commodore, and that saves him. As Joel Wilson moves into 2nd place over Lester Wilcox. Gavin Lawrenson around the outside. Christian Walker is in there as well, and Jim Cowley's in 61. We've got a yellow light on. And Trevor Oxenham with a very badly bent car goes to the infield. In control of the start from Joel Wilson on the outside. Good even start from both cars. Keith Baxter lets it drift across the track. Joel Wilson keeps the boot in it right around the outside and heads into the race lead through the top corner, with Gavin Lawrenson finding some space down the inside of Keith Baxter as well. Back behind him would be Lester Wilcox in there with Frank Packer. We've got Neil Caldoulis turning the car around, arriving at the hairpin, and Jim Cowley left stranded on the infield. Gavin Lawrenson down on the inside of Joel Wilson, who keeps the boot in on the outside. This time gives the concrete a little bit of a nudge as Gavin Lawrenson goes into the race lead from Joel Wilson. Down on the inside, Keith Baxter. We've got Lester Wilcox working his way through as well. Tim Aitken. Christian Walker is in there with Frank Packer, Al Nottage and Doug Rigby. That's the way they've come underneath the control tower, with Neil Caldoulis and Jim Cowley out of contention with this one as they arrive at the hairpin again for Gavin Lawrenson. Joel Wilson right behind him. Keith Baxter is still in there. Lester Wilcox dropped off the pace a little bit that time around. with Christian Walker looking for an outside one around Tim Aiken, who fights back and slips up the inside of Lester Wilcox and then finds he's run out of racetrack and will go right to the back of that pack. Through the hairpin for Gavin Lawrenson. Still over Joel Wilson, Keith Baxter, Lester Wilcox. Now it's Christian Walker from Frank Packer back then to Doug Rigby. Next one through would be Tim Aiken and Al Nottage in a little bit of trouble in car number 68. Back to Neil Caldulis and Jim Cowley. Into the hairpin, it's Gavin Lawrenson leading them. A merry dance through the hairpin and up the main straightaway. Joel Wilson holds on to second, but he can't close the gap to Gavin Lawrenson out in front of him. Keith Baxter holds on to three. Next one through there would be Christian Walker. To the better of Lester Wilcox. Tim Aiken working his way back through the pack, has overdone things again in the top corner and has dropped back again behind Frank Packer and Doug Rigby. Hairpin time for Gavin Lawrenson and up the main straightaway yet again for the current Queensland champion. He's got 2 laps remaining in the event over Joel Wilson. Back then to Keith Baxter doing a good job in third. The car washes out again in the front-handed through the top corner. And Christian Walker slips through into position number 3. Back then we go to Lester Wilcox, Doug Rigby, Tim Aiken and Frank Packer. They take the white one with only one to go for Gavin Lawrenson. Joel Wilson in a comfortable second place. Christian Walker would be the next one. Keith Baxter again, he's in trouble in the top corner. Almost throws it away. Lester Wilcox on the outside. Doug Rigby down on the inside. Up the main straightaway. Gavin Lawrenson takes it out. Christian Walker up for second place over Joel Wilson. Keith Baxter the next one home. Doug Rigby, Lester Wilcox, Tim Aiken, Frank Packer, Alan Nottage. Car number 8 of Neil Caldulis and 61 of Jim Cowley. Following it, the modified production feature. Street Sedan feature on our way. And Gavin Lawrenson, current Queensland champion, will lead them away. Outside of him, his good mate Tim Aiken. It'll be a big charge off the front row. Christian Walker back there on the inside of the second row, and with him is Frank Packer. Jim Cowley is on the inside of the third row with Joel Wilson. Lester Wilcox would be the next one, and in there with him is Keith Baxter. Neil Caldulis. He's trying to pick up the next car towards the back of the pack. I think you'll find Craig Franz is driving car 32, and in fact it is car 88. My production series, have a look at the fun and games at the front of the pack as they roll around, off and running. Gavin Lawrenson, Tim Aiken, Christian Walker's in there along with Frank Packer and Jim Cowley, and around the outside it's Tim Aiken who gets the better of the drive from Gavin Lawrenson. Christian Walker in there. Frank Packer's got the Falcon motoring up in the outside. Jim Cowley is in there as well. Lester Wilcox. Then we go to Joel Wilson in front of Neil Caldulis. The next one would be Keith Baxter to the better of Nigel Mulvenna and Craig Franz. That's the way they head into the hairpin, and Tim Aiken has started to put a gap between himself and Gavin Lawrenson. Up the main straightaway. Christian Walker holds on to third. Jim Cowley doing battle with Frank Packer for positions 4 and 5. Lester Wilcox would be the next one. And then Neil Caldulis. Tim Aiken, though, has really stolen a march on the rest of the field. In car number 15 through the hairpin and up the main straightaway he goes. Gavin Lawrenson has got his hands full with Christian Walker. And while that's happening, he's losing contact with Tim Aiken. A long way back then in position number 4 would be Frank Packer to the better of Jim Cowley and Lester Wilcox. Position 2 and 3 is where the action is. Gavin Lawrenson and Christian Walker doing battle, and while they are concentrating on the minor placings, skipping right away out in front is Tim Aitken, Christian Walker. Here he comes underneath. Gavin Lawrenson fights back on the outside and is able to hold him at bay into the hairpin. Up the main straightaway, the battle for fourth and fifth is raging behind them too, between Jim Cowley and Frank Packer. Then we got Lester Wilcox in front of Neil Caldoulis, Keith Baxter and Joel Wilson. Through the hairpin, Tim Aitken has opened up a commanding lead in the Street Sedan feature from Gavin Lawrenson. Christian Walker, Jim Cowley's won the battle for position 4 at the moment and has relegated Frank Packer back to 5. Lester Wilcox has now got Neil Caldoulis and Keith Baxter to worry about. Next one through would have been Nigel. And at the back it's Craig Franz. Then we're back to our race leader, Tim Aitken. Still there for position 2 and 3. Gavin Lawrenson and Christian Walker. Christian Walker has a look on the outside in the hairpin, then slides back down on the inside and is in trouble and has gone straight to the infield. Hard luck for him. Will allow Jim Kelly to inherit third place in front of Frank Packer now. Lester Wilcox, Neil Caldoulis and back to Keith Baxter. Our race leader heading up the main straightaway is Tim Aitken, about to come up on Craig Franz and try to put a lap on him. Nigel Mulvenna will be the next one in front of them. Long way back then to Gavin Lawrenson. Jim Cowley seems to be able to hold Frank Packer at bay. And then we've got Lester Wilcox, Neil Caldoulis, Keith Baxter. Back then to Joel Wilson, Nigel Mulvenna. They've put a lap on Craig Franz. That's Tim Aitken. So he has got the best part of 100 metres now on Gavin Lawrenson, who's got an equal sort of distance to Jim Cowley, who has still got his hands full with Frank Packer, who is right there, will not go away. Lester Wilcox is not too far away either as those cars come through the hairpin and head up the main straightaway. Right back into the hairpin is our race leader, so he's got the best part of half a lap over the third place contenders, and that's Jim Cowley still doing battle with Frank Packer. Those two out the third and final major placings in the event. Tim Aitken, a comfortable leader. Down the back straightaway he goes as Gavin Lawrenson moves up underneath Craig Franz, puts a lap on him. Back then to Jim Cowley, who drifts a little wide. Here comes Frank Packer, he hasn't had enough yet. Lester Wilcox and Neil Caldoulis. So the third placing is not home and hosed yet. Tim Aitken has run away with this one. He's right up now on the tail of Joel Wilson, moves to the inside of the Joel Wilson car, looking to put a lap on him. Back to Gavin Lawrenson. Tim Aitken down on the inside of Joel Wilson, moves him out of the road and puts a lap on him, trying to keep as much distance between himself and pursuing Gavin Lawrenson. Frank Packer working away on the inside of Jim Cowley, unable to do anything about it that time. Jim Cowley keeps leaving a little bit of a gap for him. Packer right on his hammer as they come through the hairpin and up the main straightaway. Our race leader is about to head up the main straightaway as well. That's Tim Aitken. Gavin Lawrenson about to put a lap on Joel Wilson. They're moving underneath Craig Franz. That's the third, fourth and fifth car as Frank Packer gets into the back and holds onto it. Packer pulls out of the encounter. So good driving from both cars. Allows Lester Wilcox to get up on terms as well, and Neil Caldoulis is not far away. Into the hairpin again. They're coming up. Nigel Mulvenna as the race leader is not all that far away. Hairpin. Tim Aitken has got 2 laps to go. Gavin Lawrenson comes up 2 laps for him as well. Into the hairpin for Jim Cowley now. to put a lap on Nigel Mulvanna as he goes underneath the control tower. Frank Packer will be the next one. Lester Wilcox and Neil Caldulas. There's the white flag for our race leader. And that's Tim Aitken, who has got the best part of half a lap on Gavin Lawrence. And at this stage, Jim Cowley would be the next one with a bit of a gap back now. Flag is taken, but here he is. Tim Aitken, he's bolted in the street sedan final. Second in the event, just heading up the main straightaway right now. Gavin Lawrence to take it out. Jim Cowley moves underneath Joel Wilson into the hairpin for the last time, and he will come home in position number 3 to the better of Frank Packer, Lester Wilcox, Neil Caldulas, Tim Aitken, too good. The light went green and he just disappeared. Tim Aitken from Gavin Lawrence and Jim Cowley.
We'll pick up the extras for you. Terry Oliver in car 58. Haven't seen Terry on the track for a while. And Aaron Broadbridge out there in car number 14 at the back of the pack. So that's the field. James Elliott in 26. Darren Lyon in the Commodore 23. Tegan Jennings in the Cortina 23. Outside the second row is Mick Budgeon. Racetrack looking in good order for the Division 2s up the main straightaway. Green flag and off and running. Good even start between Darren Lyon and James Elliott in there too. Mick Budgeon through the top corner for the first time. It will be Darren Lyon over James Elliott. Back in third place, Mick Budgeon, who got the jump on the outside of the second row over Tegan Jennings. Aaron Broadbridge has come right from the back of the pack in half a lap. Gives Tegan Jennings a little bit of a hurry along in the hairpin. Doesn't do him any good because coming around the outside in car number 91 is in fact Brendan Gillen. So Tegan Jennings has got Aaron Broadbridge and Brendan Gillen lining up behind her while this is happening. Darren Lyon is starting to put a gap between himself and the rest of the field over James Elliott back in second place, and back then we go to Mick Budgeon. A little bit of push and shove in the hairpin corner finds Aaron Broadbridge, moving Tegan Jennings out of the way. Back then in car number 91 would be Brendan Gillen with David Clark, the next one through. Tegan Jennings goes to second last position, and right back there in car number 58 is Terry Oliver as they go through Pagel's corner. In the hairpin and in trouble is car number 23, that of Darren Lyon. Gets the car mobile again though, so just missed the gear coming through the hairpin. Has got the Commodore up and running again through the top corner as James Elliott though. Coming under some pressure from Mick Budgeon and also Aaron Broadbridge, who's keen to tuck the nose under as they arrive at the hairpin corner again. Watch this time for Darren Lyon. He gets it right, lets it drift out towards the concrete and continue on his way as Brendan Gillen does the 360 in the hairpin. Yellow light is on. A bit of a problem during the race there for Darren Lyon. Missed the gears coming out of the hairpin corner. Be right on his tail. Aaron Broadbridge, who's come from the back, and David Kent finds himself being responsible for Brendan Gillen going around in the hairpin. Will go to the back of the pack. It will be Darren Lyon who'll lead them away in the restart and has got car number 26 right on his hammer. That's James Elliott. Mick Budgeon not far away. Next one there would be Brendan Gillen in front of Aaron Broadbridge as they head down the back straight in the Division 2s.
And Darren Lyon again starting to put some distance between himself and James Elliott, who gets the hairpin really all worked up wrong, and now has Mick Budgeon right on his hammer as they go underneath the broadcasting box and through the different, heading towards Pagels Corner. Back behind him is still Brendan Gillen and Aaron Broadbridge disputing position number 4. Tegan Jennings would be the next one. David Kenton tailed out at the moment is Terry Oliver. A little bit of an argument in the hairpin corner between Aaron Broadbridge and Brendan Gillen. Comes to the advantage of Aaron Broadbridge through the top corner, and it's all Darren Lyon, and he has gone away again in the restart. Darren Lyon with a big lead for Division 2s to the better of James Elliott. Back behind him in car number 93 would be Mick Budgeon. Then we go to Aaron Broadbridge, who's got himself up into 4. One in trouble is James Elliott with a bit of smoke coming out of the back of the car, but it doesn't make any difference because way out in front, Darren Lyon, he's only got the hairpin to negotiate one more time. The smoke getting a little worse from James Elliott's car as Aaron Broadbridge pulls a big desperate down in behind Mick Budgeon. It doesn't come off. Darren Lyon first across the line. James Elliott with some serious smoke problems, and Mick Budgeon holding on in front of Aaron Broadbridge. Okay, we've just about repaired the racetrack. Ready for some action again as the Division 2s roll up to form up for their second heat here tonight. Matt Rigby's in 28. Outside of him, Alan Hughes. Car 32 is Peter Lyon. No Tina Oliver. Wayne Laverty's in 29. Sarah Franz is in 36. And Terry Oliver, to the best of our knowledge, is in car number 58. We're looking for a green one. There's the flag off and running. Very slippery down low where Matt Rigby is, but he's been able to hold on to the race lead as they head to the top corner. Alan Hughes up high, can't do anything about it. One going around in car 32 is Peter Lyon. Back in position number 3 though will be Sarah Franz with Terry Oliver looking for a way around the outside in car number 58, and right at the back in car 29 will be Wayne Laverty as 32. Peter Lyon has got trouble again, trying to get the car to go in the right direction. He's back out on the racetrack, but he's more than half a lap behind as Matt Rigby holds the race lead through the top corner to the better of Alan Hughes. Back then to Sarah Franz, Terry Oliver and car 29, Wayne Laverty, have a bit of a coming together coming off the top corner. Terry Oliver has got the car mobile again, spins it around and heads it back down the main straightaway, but again he's half a lap behind the rest of the field. Matt Rigby doing a good job out the front where the racetrack is very, very slippery. He's able to hold on to it as it drifts towards the wall. That's car number 28, Matt Rigby. Got a comfortable lead at the moment over Alan Hughes, with Sarah Franz being the next one there in car number 36, and Wayne Laverty in 29. They disappear into the sunshine in the hairpin. And we pick them up again as they head up the main straightaway, and it's all Matt Rigby. Alan Hughes, one of the newer drivers in our Division 2, doing a good job behind, having trouble with the top corner, trying to get the car to come around, as is Sarah Franz. We've got Terry Oliver facing the wrong way in the hairpin as well. Wayne Laverty now arriving on the tail of Sarah Franz and looking for a position number 3. That's where the action is, with Terry Oliver now getting involved in it as he gets back on the racetrack just in front of those cars as they arrive. Getting around the outside, Alan Hughes. Wayne Laverty now is in position number 3, and Sarah Franz in there as well, and they're all trying to get around the outside of Terry Oliver, which they've been able to do so. Our race leader has just put another lap down on the journey. That's Matt Rigby, way out in front, a bit of a touch and back In position number 2 for Wayne Laverty, who's worked his way from the tail up into position number 2. Can he hold on to it through the top corner? Alan Hughes is the next one behind him, and back then to Sarah Franz. A long way back, I think you'll find, will be Peter Lyon, who's about to have a lap put on him, although he dives straight for the infield and gets out of the road, as Matt Rigby puts another lap down on the journey as the second car, Wayne Laverty, heads up the main straight away to the better of Alan Hughes, Sarah Franz, and the only other car left is Terry Oliver. No doubt about the race leader, Matt Rigby. Up the main straight away he comes. Comfortable leader. Wayne Laverty is a distant second. Alan Hughes and Sarah Franz still arguing about position number 3. But Matt Rigby is in the Pagels corner and heading down the back straight away to win his first heat here tonight. Wayne Laverty a distant second and won't be able to do anything about it. Alan Hughes and Sarah Franz along with Terry Oliver up the main straight away for the last time, and Matt Rigby takes it out. Wayne Laverty will be through into position number 2. Just crossing the line now in car number 29. Holding on to finish third is Alan Hughes to the better of Sarah Franz and Terry Oliver. The way the point scores are standing at the moment in the HDS Modified Production Series. Brendan Gillen's in 91, Sarah Franz is in 36, Jessica Raymont's out there this time in car number 30. Matt Rigby is in car number 28. Alan Hughes is in 88. And Aaron Broadbridge is in 14. Lights have gone out straight away in this heat of Division 2s. There's a green one off and running, and Brendan Gillen caught down low in the wet stuff, which is just no place to be. Allows Sarah Franz on the outside with Matt Rigby and Aaron Broadbridge, the outside cars, to go into the race lead, but we're going to do it all again as the yellow light is on. This time, Brendan Gillen parks himself a bit further up the racetrack. It doesn't help as Sarah Franz, along with Matt Rigby and Aaron Broadbridge, get the better still around the outside. Brendan Gillen down on the inside this time, getting a little bit of traction out of the top corner. Jessica Raymond would be the next one, and in there would be Alan Hughes in car number 88. They're in the hairpin for the first time. And Sarah Franz is the race leader. There's plenty of action behind. Aaron Broadbridge is up there in position number 2 in car 14. Right now on the tail of Sarah Franz. Back in third place would be Matt Rigby in car 28. Jessica Raymond would be the next one moving down on the inside of him this time as they head down the back chute. Sarah Franz leads them into the hairpin over Aaron Broadbridge. Battle royal for third place between Matt Rigby and Jessica Raymond, but Jessica Raymond moves down on the inside. Did have third place for a while coming out of the hairpin, but Matt Rigby was able to ask for some power out of car 28 and went back into third place. Around the top corner it is Sarah Franz leading them down the back chute in front of Aaron Broadbridge, who is right on her hammer. Right behind him too is Matt Rigby, finding some drive in car number 28 through the hairpin this time. Next one through is Jessica Raymond with Brendan Gillen looking for an outside move. Aaron Broadbridge moves underneath Sarah Franz as they go through the canteen corner and is the new race leader around the top corner. He's having trouble getting the car to come around. He's able to hold on though, and is the race leader as they head down the back chute to the hairpin. Aaron Broadbridge in car number 14 hangs the tail out and heads up the main straightaway to the better of Sarah Franz. Back then to Matt Rigby. The next one would be Jessica Raymond. And car number 91 in there is Brendan Gillen, and they've tailed off car 88, that of Alan Hughes. Top corner and down the back straight, and now Aaron Broadbridge is putting daylight between himself and Sarah Franz. In third place is still Matt Rigby with Jessica Raymond not far away. Brendan Gillen is in there as well, and Alan Hughes, who's done a bit of a donut on the hairpin corner. Nobody anywhere around him. Gets it up on the infield. Hopefully the motor's still running, which it is, and he sets off up the main straightaway, but he's now half a lap behind. Into the hairpin for Aaron Broadbridge. The Battle Royal is back there for position 2 and 3, and that's Sarah Franz doing battle with Matt Rigby with just a couple of laps remaining in the event. And Aaron Broadbridge has streeted them in this one. Jessica Raymond has a look underneath Matt Rigby through the top corner. He shuts the door on her. Brendan Gillen there as well. So those four cars still arguing about the minor placings. In the hairpin they are, and up the main straightaway. The white flag is out and waiting for Aaron Broadbridge. It was in car 14. A bit of a problem in the hairpin, brings on the yellow light, and the checkered flag comes out. Well, Aaron Broadbridge got home. Sarah Franz in position number 2. Matt Rigby in for position number 3. Super Street's back with the action now. But after giving the fence a bit of a workout, looks like he's out to have a run around behind. So that's the field of Division 2s. David Kent in 55, Wayne Laverty in 29, James Elliott in 26. Darren Lyon in 23, Tegan Jennings in the Gympie 23, and Peter Lyon is in 32 to face the starter over the 8-lap journey. Just settling down around the edges of the racetrack. Lights are green and off and running. A little bit of a touch between the front couple of cars, but everybody sorted themselves out as they head through the dipper for the first time. And Wayne Laverty it is who takes the race lead from David Kent, but David Kent fights back on the inside. Can't do anything now as Wayne Laverty gets some more drive up high on the racetrack and leads them into the hairpin for the first time. Wayne Laverty, David Kent, that's the way they head up the main straightaway. We'll have to wait and see which one of the Lions boys it is. It is in fact car 26 of James Elliott, followed then by Darren Lyon, and tailed out is Peter Lyon. And a bit of precision driving from the Lyon boys, and they both park the Black Commodores on the top corner. Get them going again and head off down the back straightaway, but at the moment the leader, Wayne Laverty, has run away. David Kent's in 2. Car 26, James Elliott, the car not sounding real good. In fact, he's got it sideways in the canteen corner as car 23 goes by him. That's Darren Lyon. We've got a yellow light. Car 23 is Darren Lyon, and those three head off through the dipper and towards the top corner. James Elliott, some problems with the car. I think a lot of smoke coming out of the back of it. But Wayne Laverty is the race leader. Have a look at Darren Lyon arriving down on the inside of David Kent in the hairpin corner. Wayne Laverty drifts a little high. Can Darren Lyon take advantage? No, he can't. David Kent goes back into position number 2, and Darren Lyon fits back into 3. In front of Peter Lyon in 32, and right at the back is James Elliott in car number 26. The action will be for position 2 in this one as Wayne Leverty starts to put a bit of a gap between himself and David Kent. Darren Lyon is still interested in that second place, and he's trying desperately to find some way around the orange Cortina. David Kent opens the door for him down the back straightaway. He gets halfway by, holds onto it into the hairpin. Wayne Leverty, the race leader. Darren Lyon now into position 2. David Kent's been relegated back to 3. Behind him will be Peter Lyon and James Elliott, the last one on the racetrack, still with a lot of smoke coming out of the back of car 26 and not sounding very happy as he goes past us here in the control tower. So Wayne Leverty, the race leader in the green Cortina, leads the way around the hairpin and up the main straightaway. The action still back there for position 2 between Darren Lyon and David Kent. Both of them still with aspirations of that second placing. A long way back then is Peter Lyon, and I think finally succumbing to some engine problems will be James Elliott. Will be happy just to complete the event. Through the hairpin for the next to last time for Wayne Leverty in car number 29. Heads up the main straightaway, takes the white one and one to go. Darren Lyon's been able to move right away from David Kent to establish position number 2. 32 Peter Lyon a long way back there in 4th, and I don't know whether he'll get across the next lap. That's James Elliott, the thing running on, probably 3 out of 6. Up the main straightaway, and Wayne Leverty is the winner. Takes the checkered flag and a win in that heat of Division 2. From Darren Lyon and David Kent. And the big question is, can James Elliott get to the finish line? The Cortina slowly dying, but he gets it across the line to complete. And we'll take up his position, probably about number 5 on the grid. Peter Lyon and David Kent off the front row. Wayne Leverty and Matt Rigby probably on the second row. Alan Hughes is car number 88. Terry Oliver in 58 and Aaron Broadbridge in 14. That's the field of Division 2 cars. As Matt Rigby trying to get up to his position as the lights have gone out. Looks like he'll have to be content at the back. They move around for a green light start and up the main straightaway. Off and running it is David Kent versus Peter Lyon. Well, it's no contest really. David Kent slips into the race lead as Wayne Leverty tries to come around the outside of Peter Lyon as well. Down the back chute, David Kent in car number 55. Peter Lyon moves back into second position. Have a look at Terry Oliver. Straight down the inside in the hairpin and straight into Wayne Leverty, who saves it and holds on to his 3rd place with Aaron Broadbridge working his way through from the back of the pack and Matt Rigby trying to go with him. And they've moved Alan Hughes out nice and wide and he's gone to the rear. Dave Kent, though, is the race leader. Into the hairpin he goes to the better of Peter Lyon. They're lining up behind him, though, with Wayne Leverty in there, Aaron Broadbridge as well, Terry Oliver. And car number 88 giving the concrete a workout is Alan Hughes. David Kent has a fairly commanding lead over Peter Lyon. Now they're lining up behind. Wayne Leverty loses it in the top corner and just gets a little nudge there for some reason or other. Off and running, and David Kent gets away nice and smartly. Have a look at Wayne Leverty right around the outside of Peter Lyon into position number 2. He tries desperately to hold on to that line. Peter Lyon is back there in 3, and the next one through would be Matt Rigby working away down on the inside through the hairpin. David Kent's the race leader. Wayne Leverty. Then we've got Matt Rigby in position number 3. Back then we've got Peter Lyon in 32. Behind him is Aaron Broadbridge to the better of Alan Hughes and Terry Oliver. Into the hairpin. They're closing in on David Kent. Wayne Laverty and Matt Rigby up the main straightaway. Wayne Laverty gives the concrete a little bit of a nudge as bits of the Commodore fall off. It's the bonnet, so quite obviously there was a little bit of contact coming out of the hairpin. Race leader David Kent, through the hairpin he goes, with Wayne Laverty going very high. Matt Rigby's back there in position number 3. Having another look down the inside of Wayne Laverty, back then to Aaron Broadbridge, back to Peter Lyon, Alan Hughes and Terry Oliver. The action is for positions 2 and 3 as David Kent seems to be able to move away from them through the hairpin and up the main straightaway he comes. Here comes Matt Rigby up the inside. He and Wayne Laverty come together quite strongly coming out of the hairpin, and Matt Rigby holds the lead and Wayne Laverty cleans him up in the top corner. Take that lot. Well, we'll just let the dust settle a little bit, folks, and we'll work out exactly what's happened there. I can tell you that David Kent has won the event. And we might have to have a chat to some lap scorers after that. Righto, watch for them up the main straight away. Green 1 and off and racing on the outside, getting the better of the jump would have been Brendan Gillen. Got him 3 wide heading to the top corner as young Tegan Jennings fights back on the inside to hold on to her race lead to the better of Brendan Gillen, and she's able to do so as they head down the back chute for the first time. So it's Tegan Jennings from Brendan Gillen. Sarah Franz would be the next one. Tegan's in trouble as the car pushes in the hairpin. Wants to keep going in a straight line, but she holds on to the race lead. Gets it back on that Grace Groove and has completed one of the 8-lap journey as Brendan Gillen and Sarah Franz settle down to argue about position number 2. Jessica Raymond was in there for a while too, gets it sideways and up onto the infield, allowing Darren Lyon to drive past and putting Jessica back to the rear of the field. Through the hairpin for the second time and up the main straightaway, it's Tegan Jennings in car number 23 from Brendan Gillen. Bit of a gap back then to Sarah Franz and Darren Lyon, and at the back, Jessica Raymond. Racetrack very slippery for these as Brendan Gillen is now right on the tail of Tegan Jennings into the hairpin, and again the Jennings car just goes straight ahead. Wouldn't come around, and she's going to go from first all the way back possibly to the tail of the field as Jessica Raymond goes past her as well, and she won't be very happy with herself, but Brendan Gillen is the new race leader to the better of Sarah Franz. Then we go back to Darren Lyon, Tegan Jennings and Jessica Raymond still arguing about position 4 and 5. While this is happening, Brendan Gillen is just wandering away up the front of the field. Sarah Franz has got the wobbles up in car number 36 and allows Darren Lyon to sneak by on the outside, and Jessica Raymond now having a look around the outside of Sarah Franz as well, with Tegan Jennings at the back of the pack. So the 3 ladies towards the back of the pack, and we've got Brendan Gillen at the front coming under some pressure now from Darren Lyon, who moves down onto the inside coming out of the hairpin, but Brendan Gillen has got the race lead. Darren Lyon moves down onto the inside in car number 23, looking for that inside, running around the top corner, the Pagels corner, but he can't do it at the moment. Brendan Gillen holding him at bay. In fact, opens a little bit of a lead heading into the hairpin. in front of Darren Lyon. Long way back then to Sarah Franz, Jessica Raymond and Tegan Jennings. That's the way they head up the main straightaway and put another lap down on the journey. Just a couple left to go for Brendan Gillen and Darren Lyon, still arguing about the lead position in the field. Sarah Franz back there in a distant third, Jessica Raymond and Tegan Jennings. The white flag will be waiting for them this time. Brendan Gillen has got Darren Lyon still working away behind him. Brendan Gillen, Darren Lyon, a long way back then to Sarah Franz, Jessica Raymond and Tegan Jennings. Top corner is where Brendan Gillen has got the hairpin to go. One more time and he'll take out the final heat for Division 2. Into the hairpin he goes with Darren Lyon trying to look down on the inside of him, but to no avail. And Brendan Gillen it will be who'll take it out to the better of Darren Lyon, and Sarah Franz will hold on to finish in position number 3 over Jessica Raymond and Tegan Jennings. In the Division 2s, with the modified productions back for their third and final heat with Stephen Downs, the Lismore car. Good field of super streets. Tons of power as current Queensland champion. He's off 1, Justin Jenkins. Tony Hare from 2. Lee Stephens, Andy Roberts, that's the second row. Third row, Paul Redman has taken himself to the back in his first outing in car number 72. We've seen Paul Hare in the little Escort. It's been relegated to Hamish and the juniors. Steve Cook is in 13. Darren Brady's in 27. Darryl Etherton, the Rockhampton car number 2. Robert Zielinski behind the wheel of car number 9. And Neil Kaldoulis is in car 8. That's the field. Lights are out, going racing as they roll up the main straightaway. Very wet down low. And that's to Tony Hare's advantage as he goes straight into the race lead. In car number 3, all he's got to do is get the nose of it around the top corner, which he's been able to do so. Car number 17 in hot pursuit is Andy Roberts. He's trying to keep Justin Jenkins outside of him. It might come to grief in the hairpin. Justin Jenkins and Andy Roberts. Bump, bump, bump from both of them. In there with car number 13 is Steve Cook, and we've lost Lee Stephens. And the two contenders still at it in the top corner, even under the yellow light. Justin Jenkins and Andy Roberts. Lee Stephens juniors up there in a couple of weeks. The green light, have a look at Lee Stephens. They're 3 wide going through the first corner. And I tell you what, Justin Jenkins didn't see it coming. Lee Stephens is the race leader. Car number 17 is in there. It's Andy Roberts. And everybody's got the shoulders out here. Elbows out, plenty of room for super streets through the hairpin. Up the main straightaway, Lee Stephens. Got a flyer. One in trouble in the top corner is Darryl Etherton. Robbie Zielinski up there as well. Darryl Etherton got the tail well and truly Justin out. Jenkins. Darren Brady, that's the front 3. I think Darryl Etherton is the next one. As they take the restart on the outside, Robert Zielinski looks for a run around. Steve Cook can't do it. And in there too is Tony Hare, Neil Kaldoulis at the back with Paul Redman. And also back there now is Lee Stephens. Plenty of biff and barge as they arrive at the hairpin, but it's still Andy Roberts coming under some pressure now from Justin Jenkins, who moves him aside, goes into the race lead. Good run from Darren Brady as Andy Roberts has a look. Have a look at Darren Brady down the inside and moves into second place, sends Andy Roberts back to third. Gives him a little bit of a nudge to go on with coming into the hairpin, but up the main straightaway, Queensland champion Justin Jenkins. Darren Brady is holding on tenacious. tenaciously in second place. Andy Roberts back there third. Darryl Etherton with plenty of damage to the front of the car, pokes the nose underneath, gets it chopped off. Here comes Tony Hare. Down the outside is Andy Roberts. Gives Darren Brady a little bit to go on with in the hairpin. Up the main straightaway. Justin Jenkins running away from car number 27 of Darren Brady. Great job in second place. We've got to remember this is a street sedan out there doing action with him. Andy Roberts is back there in third. Tony Hare's come from the back of the pack. Darryl Etherton and Lee Steffens now wants a bit of the action up the front. They put another lap down on the journey, and right now it's all Justin Jenkins. Through the top corner he goes with Darren Brady. Tony Hare's got himself back into position number 3, setting sail after the race leaders as Steve Cook calls it quits. Brings it onto the infield along with Robert Zielinski. The action is still in the hairpin as Andy Roberts, I think, has got some problems with the Falcon. Darryl Etherton in all sorts of troubles with the car, and the aerodynamics just been thrown out of the door as Lee Steffens just heaves Andy Roberts out of the way in the top corner. In the hairpin and up the main straightaway, Justin Jenkins is about to have Tony Hare join him for the race for the front. They've got 2 laps to go. Darren Brady back to 3. Lee Steffens has got up to 4. Next one through would be Darryl Etherton and Andy Roberts. Back then to Paul Redmond. Neil Caldoulis in the hairpin. Can he hold on with the white flag out? And 1 to go for Justin Jenkins. To the better of Tony Hare, who's right on his hammer. Down the back chute and into the hairpin. This will be for the final time. Tony Hare is right on him. Through the hairpin and up the main straight away. It is a drag up the straight. The white flag only. So we're going to do an extra lap through the dipper. And it's Tony Hare working away on the inside of Justin Jenkins. Jenkins won't give him an inch. Forces him towards the infield. They battle out the lead into the hairpin for the final time. Up the main straightaway, and it will be Justin Jenkins from Tony Hare. Darren Brady, great run in position 3. Lee Steffens would have been the next one home from Darryl Etherton, Andy Roberts, and I think Paul Redmond with Neil Caldoulis just completing the journey. Darryl Etherton will start out of pole. Darren Brady in 27 out of 2. Lee Steffens had a rough one the first time out. Start out of 3. Tony Hare out of 4. Justin Jenkins on the inside of the third row with Steve Cook. Andy Roberts is in car 17. Paul Redmond is in 72. And Robert Zielinski is the extra in car number 9 with Neil Caldoulis. Off and running on the outside, it's Darren Brady in car 27. Look who's coming with him. Tony Hare, they got him 3 wide going through the top corner. Darryl Etherton is there as well. Into the hairpin. Darren Brady, he's got a pack of them behind him. The yellow lights are on. No place for the faint-hearted out there in the super streets. Oh, Darren Brady. Watch for the restart. Darryl Etherton, the Rockhampton Flyer. Heads up the main straight, green one off and running. It's Darryl Etherton versus Darren Brady. On the outside, Darren Brady getting plenty of help around the outside from Tony Hare. Have a look at Lee Steffens on the inside. Darren Brady is the race leader with a fair bit of smoke coming out of the back of the car. Tony Hare holds on to second. Lee Steffens is in there as well. Darryl Etherton on the outside. The car number 13 of Steve Cook. In there is Robert Zielinski and Andy Roberts. Through the top corner in trouble. Darren Brady, we said a lot of smoke coming out of car 27. He's called it quits, leaving Tony Hare in the race lead. Darryl Etherton into position number 2. The next one would be Lee Steffens in front of Robert Zielinski. Steve Cook is car number 13. Andy Roberts in there with Paul Redmond. and Neil Caldula's tailed out to the rear. A position change as they head into the hairpin again. Looking for third place is Robert Zielinski. He's got Lee Stephens lift up nice and high. Can't do anything about it. Lee Stephens fights back. Have a look at the race lead for Tony Hare. Heading up the main straightaway, the Battle Royal is back there for third place between car number 9, Robert Zielinski, and Lee Stephens in there too, Steve Cook. He wants a bit of this action and they're all chasing Darryl Etherton, who is indeed chasing Tony Hare, who is just disappearing into the distance. Robert Zielinski now up on the tail of Darryl Etherton. Through the hairpin they go and up the main straightaway. Darryl Etherton, Robert Zielinski, Lee Stephens, Steve Cook, they're the ones battling out. Second through fifth as Tony Hare has clocked out of this one. Here comes Robert Zielinski down the inside. Darryl Etherton fights him off. Through the hairpin they go. Darryl Etherton keeps Robert Zielinski, who moves down on the inside but got a bit of the wobbles up with the tail. Washed off the speed. Lee Stephens now falling back into the clutches of Steve Cook. Back to Andy Roberts and Paul Redman up the main straightaway. It is Tony Hare. About half a lap lead he's got now over Darryl Etherton. Back behind him is Robert Zielinski. Lee Stephens still doing battle with Steve Cook. A long way back then we've got to Andy Roberts as Tony Hare has only got the final hairpin to go. Robert Zielinski's down the inside of Darryl Etherton. He has to let him go. Down through the inside he goes, does the switch over but to no avail. And Robert Zielinski from the back of the pack will get himself up into position number 2 from Darryl Etherton. But it was all Tony Hare. There's been plenty of action from the super streets tonight. Paul Redman in his new one, car number 72. Steve Cook in his new one also, car number 13. Andy Roberts there in the Falcon 17. Watch the man on the outside of him. Justin Jenkins off and running. Good even start from the front of the pack with the Paul Redman goes to the race lead. Steve Cook slips down on the inside of him. We got them lined up everywhere behind them. Tony Hare, Justin Jenkins. Got them all hooked up coming off the top corner. Let's see the jump this time. Off and running. And it's Paul Redman down on the inside. Keeps Steve Cook up nice and high. They're lining up behind him. Steve Cook slips over on the inside. Draws level as they head down the back chute. Looking for the inside run into the hairpin. Paul Redman first there. Can he keep the car on line? Steve Cook would be the next one in there behind him as Lee Stephens coming around the outside. There's Justin Jenkins. Andy Roberts is in there as well. And Robert Zielinski. Up through the top corner and Justin Jenkins up underneath Lee Stephens and into position number 3. Now he oh dearie me, he did a nose in park into the concrete. That's what happened. And may have Steve Cook on the outside of him. Will be looking to change that this time around. Robert Zielinski slips straight down onto the race line on the inside, making 3 wide as they go through the top corner. Gives Paul Redman a little bit to go on with, but Paul Redman is the race leader, and the one that they've shuffled back is Steve Cook because Andy Roberts is in there with a bit of the action as well. Plenty of biff and barge coming through the hairpin between Lee Stephens and Andy Roberts. I'm out into the middle just to have a chat to the drivers. Paul Redman versus Steve Cook off the front row. Robert Zielinski not far away. Off and running as Robert Zielinski slips straight down on the inside, running to try and follow him through. Moves up level with him as they head down the back chute. Robert Zielinski on the inside. Paul Redmond through the hairpin he goes. Can he hold on to the race line? Good drive from Paul Redmond in car 72. Leads from Robert Zielinski. Back then to Steve Cook. Next one through there will be Lee Steffens to the better of car number 1 in Justin Jenkins. Andy Roberts and Neil Caldoulis through the hairpin yet again, and up the main straightaway for Paul Redmond. Leading the way over Robert Zielinski, who has a look underneath him through the top corner. Paul Redmond's left a big gap for him down the back straightaway. And again, it's Paul Redmond who can lead into the hairpin, but Robert Zielinski's right under him. His time up the main straightaway. Paul Redmond again has left a bit of a gap for him, and Robert Zielinski gives him a tap just as Steve Cook arrives on the scene. Lee Steffens is in there as well. Lights are yellow. All right, looks like the event has been called. I don't know how many laps we did. I don't know the placings. We'll work that out for you very shortly, and I think Paul Redmond would have won the event, and after that, I give up. Second row should be Paul Redmond, and it is in car 72. Alongside of him will be Justin Jenkins. Car 13 is Steve Cook, and outside of him is Lee Steffens with Neil Caldoulis at the back, off and running. For Tony Hare, Neil Caldoulis turns it around in the dipper for the first time. Keeps the engine going and gets back in the action as the Super Streets arrive at the hairpin. Tony Hare leads from Robert Zielinski, back then to Paul Redmond, who actually moves up one position, putting Robert Zielinski back to third. Next one through there would be Steve Cook in front of Justin Jenkins and Lee Steffens. Piled out to the rear. Tony Hare, the race leader, heads them up the main straightaway to the better of Paul Redmond, who's chasing him pretty hard this time around. Robert Zielinski in car number 9, not far away, has a little look underneath Paul Redmond, that time through the top corner. Back behind them we've got Steve Cook, then Justin Jenkins, and at the back is Lee Steffens as Neil Caldoulis has had enough with Paul Redmond. Still working hard, chasing Tony Hare, unable to close the gap on him, and Tony Hare streaks away down the back straightaway from Paul Redmond. Back in third position is still Robert Zielinski. He's got his hands full now with Steve Cook right on his hammer. Back then to Justin Jenkins, Lee Steffens. Neil Caldoulis rejoins the pack as Paul Redmond gets the wobbles up coming off the top turn. Robert Zielinski goes to the inside and Paul Redmond loses it in front of, I think it's Steve Cook. Brings on a yellow light and Cookie doesn't look all that and has found himself going to the back. Look for a green one and an immediate restart, which we get. Tony Hare. Robert Zielinski straight underneath him in the top corner. The two of them come together through the top corner, and Tony Hare might have been caught napping a little bit. Robert Zielinski is the new race leader. Tony Hare into position 2. The next one through there would be Steve Cook to the better of Justin Jenkins, Lee Steffens. Back then to Paul Redman and Neil Caldoulis at the back. Down the back chute for Robert Zielinski in car number 9, leading the way from Tony Hare. Steve Cook tucked in there in position number 3 in car 13. In front of Justin Jenkins and Lee Steffens through the top corner. And Robert Zielinski starting to move away a little bit from Tony Hare through the hairpin. We've got Tony Hare now in doing battle with Steve Collins. Neil Caldoulis in trouble in the hairpin, gets it going again. Lee Steffens have some problems with car number 4 as well. And may just motor around at the end to try and complete the journey. Robert Zielinski up the main straightaway. Tony Hare. Steve Cook in car 13. Lee Steffens has had enough and pulls it onto the infield. Justin Jenkins loses it a little as well on the top. Back on the infield he goes, and Paul Redman drives past, so he's gone back one position up the main straightaway. Robert Zielinski putting a big gap in the field, has moved away from Tony Hare. Steve Cook, still interested in a second placing, is right on Tony Hare's hammer. Back then we've got Paul Redman to the better of Justin Jenkins, and Paul Redman has turned it around in the hairpin. Can he keep it going? No, the yellow lights are on. Gets it mobile, but too late. Well, Robert Zielinski caught feature race at the restart. Brian Zielinski gets the jump from Tony Hare. Steve Cook, Justin Jenkins has a look down the inside. And Roberts, oh, we've got a big one. Robert Zielinski. I think it's Justin Jenkins, the other car, and Neil Caldoulis in the brand new one. And it's bent pretty badly. And Roberts, oh, we've got a big one. Robert. And Tony Hare has been sent to the rear. The checkered flag is showing, so we'll just wait and see. Oh, what a real mess and what a real shame for Neil Caldoulis. Brand new motor car, and it's destroyed in the back end. We'll wait and see whether the race has actually been given to Robert Zielinski. So that's it, folks. Thanks for your attendance on the mountain. We've got a little bit of cleaning up to do over there with Robert Zielinski's car, but he will win the feature event for Super Streets from Steve Cook and Justin Jenkins.
Although even Miles coming round, we're still packing the track down. Brendan Bayfield in the Autobahn, VS Commodore. And Adrian Stott in the shift car body removals. Except Falcon. Oh, Pushrod himself. Yes, to the guys that prepared the track here, Max Hardwig and the boys, done a great job of getting everything ready to go. The first of the green laps. Look at Miles on the outside. Ty Jones right up on the inside of Stevie Downs. Coming through, look at Cooper and Miles come together at the back. Cooper's car got airborne. As he rode over the fact, the yellow lights come on. And it never ceases to amaze me. These guys come here every time. And it is on from the first drop. And car number 81, the car of Quentin Clark. Now for the run. Look at Adrian Stott. Dale Growth attacking through and around goes Stephen Downs. Yellow lights come on again. They'll see the yellow flag out. Mayfield up on the inside, then Akumba. Never got out of the throttle. Having a big look at the first time. Akumba to run up the rear. They'll take the green. This time round, and once again, Miles gets to come Stevie Downs on the inside. Miles goes into the corner. Look at Price on the outside. Once again, Adrian Scott, big look as they come down into the hairpin. Through and complete for the first time. Quentin Clark gets a bit sideways. But the Mayfield takes a positive action. And Dale Growth has got Ty Jones on the high side as he looks for room at the top of Pagel. Oh, round goes Adrian Stott. Yellow lights come on. And this may be a very long 8 laps to start this. One of the most crucial corners to try and get some track presence is Pagel Corner. Where they go, Milo got the run out of the bottom hole. Once again, Stephen Downs is under siege. Have a look at Dale Growth as he slid up on the inside of Stephen Price. Ty Jones looking to take the top side part of the track. He's happy to run close to the boards. Growth looking to get some trackside. Good. Once again, into Pagel Corner. Oh, Growth. Big look up on the inside using the inside of Pagel Corner. Trying to nudge the car of Stephen Price out of the way. Oh, Ty Jones has got a problem. He's on the infield. That's our left Wayne Miles out front. Oh, once again, Growth runs up on the inside. This time, Price, he's got a run on the inside. Very deep under brakes. Here's the car. Stephen Downs, but Price, he's got the better line. Stephen Price now is out. Oh, look at that. Price, he got it sideways and nowhere for Downsy to go. Well, this is going to be interesting. Downsy committed to the low line, nowhere to go. The man who just pedals this Cortina with an inch of its life sits in third. And take the green. Growth looks for the line straight on the inside of Downs. Growth pinching a little bit of real estate through the top of Pagel Corner. But out in front, Wayne Miles has got some open country ahead of him. Growth sets himself up for the run back on the inside. Growth still hunting that slide in position that he's trying to come on the inside. Deep down into the hairpin they come. Growth gets out of that. Now we'll come back on the inside. Stephen Downs a little wide that time. Growth makes the move. And here comes Quentin Clark. Clark makes the move on Brett Mayfield. Clark slides through. Look at Adrian Stott. Pricey and Cooper off the rear. Wayne Miles still out in front. Oh, Clark's had a problem. Mayfield straight back on the inside. They're side by side. Bit of matching going on to two colours. Mayfield slides through. Oh, Clark's left a big hole. Adrian Stott went to come through. Now Clark back on the inside of Mayfield. Down in the hairpin. Oh, Clark, he bounces the car through the corner. Gets straightened up his throttle and drives Brendan Mayfield into the boards. Well, I'll tell you, it's on for Yannon at the back. While this is going on, Wayne Miles will take the checker. Second place for Alberta. And third will go to the car of Stephen Downs. Oh, Pricey threw on the car of Adrian Stott, and Bayfield and Clark come across the line. Bayfield and Quentin Clark line up beside each other. That's one conversation I'd like to be in Pittsburgh 7. If you ever want to put him off your racing, all you got to do is wear a green floppy hat in front of him. He's 48 years old tomorrow too, Gary Morosky. Just couldn't believe that. I thought he looked at all of 58, but he's 48 years old. So it's Brian Leroy on the front row. It looks like Steve Collins has decided to run off the rear. So everybody will slide forward. And looks like, of course, that looks like Royce Ernst wants to start in his normal position. Lights are out, the green's ready to take. Toddy Doyle slides straight up into P #3, but look at Brian Leroy on the inside. Gary Morosky, through RX7, very quick into the bottom of Shellcross, but look at Morosky down the inside. Will he have to wait? Shellcross does a bomb dive down into the hairpin, and Tony Doyle runs the high line. He'll run that car topside over behind him. He's got Morosky keeps him up in the loose stuff. Doyle keeps the beat into it. To Queensland number 1, Doyle. Now runs around the outside. Morosky still keeps him on it. Keeps him on the high side. But Doyle's sheer track speed out of the hairpin will throw him up in second place. So now the two Commodores, the Corvette Queensland car, Brian Leroy. Look at Doyle as he backed that car in the Pagel. Doyle looking to get a little bit more corner speed as he gets off the back of the track for a car back on the inside. Todd Doyle trying to get power out. Brian Leroy closes the gap. Doyle big jump on the throttle. Problems for Rodney Parnell. But Doyle back on the yard. Contact with him and Brian Leroy. Leroy gets hung out to dry. Morosky back on the inside. Look at Pagel trying to find the right inside the garage with the car and Shellcross. Being shown bonus race, he comes through. Doyle now. Goes back to second place. Leroy back into the lead. Morosky just to fly the ointment for these cars as Doyle's got a problem. Here goes Pagel. Doyle must have a flat right-hand rear by the attitude of the car. Yes, he does. So Doyle has a flat right-hand rear and he's going backwards in the field. Leroy goes away. Second place to Pagel. Morosky hanging on for third at this stage. Shellcross up on the inside. Morosky can do nothing about the torque of the 6 cylinders. With the laps falling away, Doyle's got to do nothing but hang on to the outside boards. He'll need the points, he'll hang on. 2 laps remaining. And Brian Leroy to the top of Pagel corner has gone. Pagel chasing him down. Glenn Pagel, the guaranteed Luther VO Commodore is for life. As they come into the airfield, they'll come in this time, 1 lap left to travel. And can Pagel close the gap? Shellcross. Then back to the car of Morosky. Travis Barron having a good run back to the O-Tech. Ford Falcon. Down in the bottom corner, they run. Leroy will take the checkered flag. Second place in the car. From Glenn Pagel, Shellcross in for third. And Morosky then back to Travis Barron. Looks like the car of Todd Doyle is going to sneak across, get some finishing points. Robbie Trapp having all sorts of problems at Toowoomba steering. Speed chop in a car. But Doyle with that flat tyre. We'll get awarded points anyway for the amount of laps he's completed, more than likely. I'll tell you what, that was one very fast heat, and Todd Doyle Campbell's decided to come off the rear. Outside there of him, car number 92, which is Brian Nessler. All right. Into Pagel's corner for the first time with the yellow lights out. Once again, 8 laps this distance for these guys, and of course, the Ford front 2 rows. In fact, it's nearly 3 rows. The Ford product, but it's going to be the Hollywood on the inside, Raymond on the outside, and look at that Raymond. Looking for line, but Raymond comes through. No room there. Hollyman gets a bit of push at the top of the corner. Gregory Raymond's cleared out. Look at the car on the inside. You would not believe that around. Oh, contact with Michael Halley. It's not really well that Troy Ware was going to make that one. Troy Ware, the last of the dive bombers. Halley gets a bit of push still at the top of Pagel. Yellow lights come on. Car number 72, the car of Shane Langdon, turns as well. Oh, round goes Greg Walling in the bottom of the hairpin as well in front of Brian Niesler. As they load it up again, Raymond on the gas early. In fact, Aiden Raymond give a Hollywood a push up the hill. Aiden Raymond slides up the inside. Hollyman's caught wide. And it's a Raymond 1-2 to the hairpin for the first time. Look at Michael Halley looking to find room on Hollyman. Halley up on the inside. Will he get the drive up the corner? Hollyman at the line on the outside. Troy Ware coming through. He's on the inside of Niesler. But look at the car of Michael Halley as he slides through on Hollyman. All around goes car number 72 Langdon. And Ware goes through. Oh, Hollyman's got a problem. He gets across that and come down the hairpin. He's going to find to get back on track. That's right. Niesler and Walling get caught up the bottom of the hairpin as well. So it's a Raymond 1-2. And Raymond now out in front of Greg. Greg's got a job to do. Aiden determined to be the lead Raymond here tonight. Michael Halley, the Queensland Speedway spares, exit Falcon. Will he chase down the 2 Corolla Records cars? The 10 green, oh, Raymond's got a problem. Aiden Raymond pulls up. And now Michael Halley's got a clear track to chase down. Greg Raymond, oh, whatever the problem was, he's going to get another way. Problems for McDonald, he got a bit of push mid-corner as well. He's sitting back in third. It's Greg Raymond out front, Michael Halley in second. Third is McDonald. Hollyman in fourth. Campbell in fifth. Troy Ware in his line. The problems for the Raymond car. He pulls it up on the infield. 2 laps left remaining. Look at Ware trying to make his way through the field. Leesley gets good drive. Campbell is going to be under siege from the other Falcons coming up behind him. 1 lap remaining for Greg Raymond. Good problems for McDonald down at the hairpin. Oh, round goes Ware. Leesley nowhere to go, but runs into the side of him. Yellow lights come on. Checkered flag. We'll have to wait and see whether that's going to be run at that. The yellow lights did come on just as Raymond was coming up the main straight. Well, Paul, I'm not sure whether the yellow lights are on before the checker. We'll have to know whether we're going to shout. Are we going to go to the checker? Still packing the track down. 1 more lap. Todd Doyle cut down a right-hand rear tyre. He was extremely tense about that when he got back into the pit area earlier on. No damage to, in fact, the left-hand front of Wayne Miles' car either, after that altercation in the first round of heats. So they were quite happy with that. Morosky had a fuel pressure problem, in fact, a big lack of in the RX-7. So expecting this to go a bit quicker as it started to lean out last time. Green comes on. Out front, Todd Jones is going to run on Langton. Look at Wayne Miles having a look on the inside. Bayfield coming through from the back. Look at Gary Morosky on the outside of Brian Leroy down into the hairpin. Doyle slides down, so does Troy Ware. Oh, around goes the field. Shane Langdon goes round and Brian Leroy and Todd Doyle come to grief in the bottom of the hairpin. Mark Raymond goes to look just to make sure everything can be run down. They're going to try and clear everything and unfoul the front of that car. Oh, shocks just collapsed. In fact, that whole shock's just bent and collapsed, so that's gone. Dragging on the deck. That won't slow him down. Tractor comes around now to grab the car with Shane Langdon. Bayfield. They take the green. Oh, look at the Donald on the inside. Miles was there, but McDonald's gone too wide. He's left a hole big enough to put an aircraft carrier through. And both Morosky and the car of Raymond slide on through. Look at Troy Ware coming from the clouds, so deep on the brakes into the hairpin. Oh, Tony Doyle closes up on the door. Todd Doyle forces his way past McDonald. And Troy Ware is coming from the clouds. He's punishing this Falcon. The EL Falcon XR6, he's pushing nice and hard. McDonald now. Bayfield behind him. It's Greg Raymond up front. Ray Miles chasing him. And Todd Doyle. The man on the mission. Doyle's got the fiery little RX-7 chasing him down. But whether he can do anything about the three cars in front, I'm not sure. McDonald's now found some rhythm. He's starting to look for a Doyle out towards the boards, and so is the car aware. Doyle's bonnet's up. The whole guard of that car is up. He will have a vision problem out of that car. Todd Doyle having real problems in showing the Meatball flag. So if that problem doesn't get any better, he's going to have a problem. Troy Ware is flying, but so is Greg Raymond out front. Wayne Miles is up there also. Todd Doyle being told to go infield. Todd Doyle has been shown mechanical flag as well. And Greg Raymond now down in the bottom part of the hairpin. Doyle sits. Black flag for Todd Doyle. That bonnet will be causing a vision problem, so he will be given a black. He's been given the black flag and told to go infield. At the moment, Morosky realistically is sitting in third. Raymond's got one lap. And one lap left for the field. Look at the experience of Greg Raymond. He has just shown his cards a clean set of heels. He will take the heat win. Raymond takes the win. Miles in for second. Doyle comes across in third under a black flag, and so does Gary Morosky. So Morosky comes through, then we go back to Ware and McDonald. Oh, what a heat.
That he didn't finish the event.
Yeah, that there needs to be a 50-metre exclusion zone around his pit area now at the moment, I think. All right, so he is now going to come back out. And whether he does elect to run from the rear or to run out of his right position, I'm not sure.
Just fill you in a little bit, Wes. There was some problems whether or not the car had a machinery. But everything seems to be right, so Mr. Tischler's in it.
Well, that's interesting. They'll just check in with the car being scrutineered today at all. All right. Here we go. Sedans on the outside. Clarkey there. Look at Hollywood trying to find a hole wall. He's in there as well. Oh, Clarkey got the line. Rick Clark, Hollywood slotted in as well. Sale finding the position with Hollywood. Deep down into the corner, Stephen. Down, slots in there as well. Price is up on the inside. Oh, look at Sale and Hollywood. Gets a into the bricks. Cars going everywhere, and the two Lismore cars end up side by side. I know water's scarce, Paul, but I think we need a big bucket over these guys. In fact, Royce Ernst, yes it is. Sedans. Caboolture 4, John Tischler. Hollyman and Clark. Well, they're going to take the green. Once again, Walling leads away. Look at Brighton. All over the back of Walling. So Caleb wants the side finish line. And Hollyman is on the charge, and so is Clark. Hollyman into the back of the car. Sale goes round. Everybody clears the way. Sale sitting on the edge of the track. Oh, Walling's gone round as well, coming out of the hairpin. Yellow lights, come on. Left-hand front is flat on Coomba's car. Walling on the front, Downs off the back. As they come round, once again Walling and the Kibbles. Performance, wholesale, Corridor will lead them away. Pricey chases him. Safety car overturns on Hollywood now. Hollyman's starting to push through, and it's John Tischler that he wants to get past. Tischler turned on his own. Hollyman nowhere to go. And they all come together once again at the top of Pagel Corner. And it will be the car of John Tischler coming off the rear behind the car of Stephen Downs. But once again, it will be Greg Walling leading us away as he steps on the gas. Him and Pricey go to again. Pricey in the red first, but they found him. Comes to the top of Pagel. Walling got that a bit wide. Price slides on through. And Royce Ernst got a little loose coming out of the top of Pagel. He slides back down towards the rear. And now it's Stephen Price in front. They're rolling down the chaser. Hollyman's flying in that fantastic looking Cortina. The Commodores are back and forth. Quentin Clark leading away another one of Lismore cars. That is, of course, the car of Stephen Downs. Can he close it enough to make any improvement on second? Clark gets a little bit taily out of the top of Pagel. Look at Greg Walling. The smoothness of the Kibbles car. Eating away at that lead. Stephen Price gave as he jumped on the inside coming out of Pagel corner. Hollyman in third, back to the car. Zal, have a look at Clark. Downs working together. Clark's going to get a run on the inside. Clark is looking to make a move. They come to the Pagel up on the inside. Zal's gone round. Downs and Clark took evasive action. Lost count now. But it will be. Stephen Price led us away. Walling's now got that gap closed down to where he can do something. But as Stephen Price got a bit too much straight line speed, he launches the Falcon out of the start-finish line. And Hollyman's now close up. Well, that car's got a little bit of push happening at the top of Pagel. But they'll come down into the hairpin corner. The big Falcon. The graphics forward of Stephen Price looks very strong out front. Walling doesn't seem to be able to do anything about it, but Hollyman is coming home strong. Hollyman now deep into the hairpin, 1 lap remaining. And Hollyman is flying. Brown Clark back and forth, got Stephen Downs swinging on the straight. And Hollyman very smooth that time through the top of Pagel corner. But so was Walling. Checkered flag at the ready. Stephen Price will take the win. Greg Walling hands over second. Hollyman in for third. With Brent Clark, Downs, And the field rolling through. Gympie comes through to get finishing points. But a good win. And Pricey takes another win in the Graphics BA Falcon. Look for what's going to happen. So it's Dale Grother and Travis Barron off the front row. So we could nearly refer to that as the sumo front row, Paul, really, couldn't we? Thank God they can't hear me. Out of row number 2 will be Trappy and the car of, in fact it is the car of Jason Campbell. Shellcross, and of course the car of Pagel coming out of row 3. Michael Halley and Adrian Stott. Gavin Fletcher. Car number 8, of course, is, well, what an effort he's done to bring that car back. In fact, Rodney Parmeter, after the horrific crash at BIS, and Nistler off the back. Lights are out, going to take the green, the first of 8. There's a car with Dale Grother. The 2 heavyweights on the front row, and Travis Barron was not going to give in. But look at Pagel, the slides up on the inside of Campbell. Pagel now deep into the hairpin. Campbell comes across to cover. But Pagel may have the run out of the bottom. Yes, he does. Campbell tried to get up on the outside. It's Grother out front. Have a look at Gav Fletcher. Fletcher got that car all crossed up. Comes across, and Halley slides through on Campbell as well. So Halley now in position 4. Grother looking strong. Travis Barron having a good run in second. Robbie Trapp trying to find a way on the inside of Campbell. And look at the car of Gavin Fletcher, being very aggressive. First time he's seen the track tonight. Look at this car. Pagel, it just knows the Mother Mountain circuit. Pagel not wide, he'll come high in the top of that corner. Halley and the car of Travis Barron come together in mid-corner. Barron got the drive, Halley's still trying to find a way past. Early into the corner, gets a power down, William. The whole crowd come up the hill, Barron closes the door. And Barron gets car set up the top of Pagel, nice line, but Halley on the inside. We have the better line coming to the bottom of the hairpin. Travis Barron doesn't get out of it. Halley has to pinch it up, but he does make the move stick. Now Pagel is on the attack. Stoddy comes up the inside and Campbell. Fletcher on the inside there. Gav Fletcher, Adrian Stott side by side. And Stoddy back on the inside, Fletcher. Around goes the car of Shadross. As our race leader comes past, Padel made the move stick. He's gone through. Look at the car of Howley. He let caution out the door as he goes to double Padel, closing in on Growther into the hairpin. Around goes the car of, it is the car of, Adrian Stott. The yellows come on. And the top of Pagel corner is a logjam. Checkered flag out. So Pagel will take the win. Hallian and Growther. And Paul, I've got to tell you, I didn't even see the checker come out. And that's about right. Okay. So looking to get these guys away. Lights are out. 8 laps the journey. Hydraulic Drilling Services. Modifying Production Series. This is heat number 3, event 5. First round of these guys. Once again, Michael Halley very quick off the top. Got it very loose up top. Troy Ware and Halley side by side. Ware drifts it a bit wide. Halley has to get out of his throttle, and now Ty Jones on the inside. The left-hand front has failed on Ty Jones's car, and the whole front stub has torn away. Ty Jones, yellow lights are on. And that, when he hit the brakes down the bottom, that just tore that left-hand front right out from under the car. Well, so Ty Jones is out. Ty Jones showing him the boards to say straight up down the bottom. But Halley got the jump this time around. Halley got a good run out of there. Ty Jones back. Oh, here we go. All around at the top. And once again, Troy Ware and Michael Halley deep into the bottom of the hairpin. We're in a drought. All right. Once again, it's Troy Ware and Michael Halley on the front row. Halley got a good run up on the outside. Ware kicks him out of the dirt. And Halley and Ware go deep. Halley got a big push on the middle pavement. Tags the wall on the way out. And Raymond slides in. Look at Michael Halley. Raymond such a good run out of the bottom corner. Slides up on the inside. Look at, Greg Raymond got tagged around. They go him and Michael Halley. And the lights come on. And let's see what happens. Geez, I hope I'm being paid by the hour, Paul. I'm going to clean up tonight. Deary me.
It'll be a lot cheaper to pay you by the hour than by stoppages.
Well, I was going to say, if you pay me by the restart, you may as well just sign the lease of the track. The internet as well, but it's Michael Halley and the car. Goes 71 Troy Ware. Ware didn't get the drive that time around. Halley got a good run. And Greggy Raymond's come from the rear and now sits in 5th place. Raymond trying to find room. Have a look at this one. And a good one out the bottom. Raymond got Paul coming out of the bottom. Ware had a big look at Michael Halley. It's a major approach in the playable corner. Raymond now sits in 4th place. He's come from the rear and he is flying. Dale Growther is the next target for Greg Raymond. Ware gets out a little wrong, gets across top. Raymond inside, makes that stick, and Raymond's now in third. Greggy Raymond is flying. But will he have the laps to catch Michael Halley? He's got Roy the next one to get. Roy gets it inside. Raymond finds a corner up. Troy Ware into the bottom. Once again, Raymond pulls up on the inside. Raymond now in second. So Greggy Raymond is on a charge. Can he catch Michael Halley? Oh, Dave Growth has lost a right-hand rear. So Growth's car is limping. And Raymond is closing on Michael Halley. But the laps probably won't help him. Look at the cars fighting on the back. McDonald trying to come on the outside. Trying to make a move on Growther, but couldn't do that. As Growther's car limping with a busted right-hand rear. Raymond has closed that gap down about 3 car lengths. Wide open on the throttle into Pagel. And now he closes up on the bottom part of the circuit. 1 lap left to travel. And Michael Halley has got a determined Greg Raymond on him. And look at the gap. Raymond closed it down. Now to 2 car lengths. The hairpin left to travel. Can Raymond make an impact? He is on the back of Halley. He's flying to the bottom. But Halley out of the bottom will take the win. Raymond in second. And Troy Ware comes home in third. Niesler holding off McDonald. 3 comes Sedans. And the car of, well, what a great drive. Michael Halley takes the win. Apart from the one little fire-breathing RX-7 of Gary Morosky. As I said, no more Todd Dorr tonight, blown head gasket. He's now a spectator. As the field rolls through the top of Pagel Corner, yellow lights are out. We're going to go for a green start pretty much straight away. Once again, the car of Steve Collins is elected to run off the rear. Getting some valuable time in the car. Collins. A good run. Look at the battle up front. Pagel and Steve Price. Pagel out of the muck on the outside. Got the drive in the first corner. Price's car big push. And here comes Adrian Stott from nowhere. Adrian Stott, big moves. He comes straight down the inside. It's both Pimenta and the car of Price. He got hooked up. Oh, look at Rodney Track. Little Simon down the bottom corner. The track's still a little down. But Pagel has cleared out. And the local guys are cleaning up. Adrian Stott. Stevie Price. Oh, that's a problem for Adrian Stott, that car. Valve floating like it was losing drive. They were on the limit, nowhere to go. And now down to the hairpin. Look at the car of Price. As they all come down, Shawcross looking to find a way under Robert Trapp. And in fact, it's a car of Quentin Clark that Shawcross is chasing into Pagel Corner. Pagel is bolted out front. Adrian Stott and Stephen Price do battle for second and third. But Rodney Pimenta did a great job in his car that he in fact rebuilt after the horrific rollover at the BIS. Look at the Shawcross trying to find a way to the inside of Quentin Clark. Brian Leroy's starting to come through this group as well. Wayne Miles got a nice run out of the bottom part. Balked. Leroy, he got it all over too wide on the bottom of the hairpin. But Pagel has just cleared away from these guys. Adrian Stott, let me go back to the car at Price. They seem to be running in order. There's nothing they can do. 2 laps remaining. And Gordon Clark is under siege. Look at Shawcross having a look. Now Miles sneaks up on the inside of the Pagel corner as well. Shawcross will go side by side in the hairpin. Clark very good on the brakes. 1 lap remaining. So the battle for second and third is where the interest is. Pagel's coming in the hairpin for the last time, our race leader. As he exits there, he will take the checkered flag as a turn at the top of Pagel corner. But it will be Pagel taking the win. Second place, Adrian Stott. And third goes to Stephen Price. And well, once again, a spinner in the top of the track means the race nearly finishes under the car. The man in wanting behind you there is a well-known local by the name of Murray Coote. And Murray Coote is under the front of that car at the moment trying to fix whatever problems that they had before. All right, next heat comes out. Final heat before the mains tonight. 7 down, should be up pole on the outside. Him should be Aidan Raymond with a different and brand new gearbox on the front of this car. Todd Doyle will not be a starter. Blown head gasket with that car. Brendan Bayfield will be there. Greg Walling, Travis Barron. Now Greg Walling looks like they've come forward in the heats and gone diagonally across. We go back to Travis Barron, Stephen Zahl, Luke Holliman, Neil Coomber, Borowski and Campbell as they take the green. It's over on the outside. Stephen Downs tries to get the power down, there's no roofing there. And Walling's got a good run back on the inside of Downs as they come towards the hairpin. But once again, Aidan Raymond looks very strong out front. So well there, Travis Barron trying to find a wheel. Get out of Brendan Bayfield. And Holliman trying to make a move on Coomber. The track's still a little there, Underfoot. Slowed the cars down. It's made them all a little bit nervous. Through the bottom hairpin, the top of Pagel corner. But Stephen Zahl, with that camera facing back, you'll see the car of Brendan Bayfield appear in and out of that car's viewpoint as they make their way through Pagel's corner. And once again, Stephen Zahl, car 46, carries the high performance video in-car camera. Up the main straight he travels. Look at the battle behind. He's got a bird's eye view. But Travis Barron tries to find a way around Brendan Bayfield. Oh, the footage from inside this car will be very unique. You'll have to get a copy of that. And in front, it is still Raymond. He has now got the leg of the straight. He is starting to clear away. Nothing wrong with that gearbox he's got in that car. This car is flying. Once again, Travis Barron trying to find a way on the inside of Brendan Bayfield. Bayfield gets a little inside, but Barron back on the inside. Deep under brakes for Bayfield. Holds Barron out. The braking jewel down the bottom. Oh, Travis Barron leads on it. And Coomber comes into this battle as well. Oh! Coomber gives Barron one. As flames belt for underneath Coomber's car. Up now. Protest flag on the outer. Coomber being shown the protest flag. Oh! Bayfield's got a problem. As now the car of Walling slides on the inside. Stephen Downs, can he make it stick? 1 lap remaining. And as they get out of the corner, down to the bottom, our race leader comes on the main straight. Aidan Raymond will take the win. There's daylight back to second place. Downs holds on to that. Here comes Walling. Can he make the all, there's nothing wrong with that gearbox they found at home and slotted into that car. And once again, the Raymonts and the locals show some of the guys exactly how you've got to be have this car set up to go through. No, Gavin Fletcher. The gate is closed. He's been told by our good marshal that we've closed the gate. And Campbell and Shallcross on the front. Pimenta and Niesler. Come into the bottom corner, Campbell and Shallcross on the front row. Be-main time. Shallcross wide out front, Campbell coming through. Look at Pimenta. Rodney Pimenta slots into position number 3. But Banfield on there, look at Coomber caught on the outside. Once again, Shallcross out front shows everybody a clean set heels. Rodney Pimenta is flying. Rodney Pimenta is here meaning business. And it's very unusual to see that Trappy back that far. This is one of the limits. Guy on the AD, I tell you, he is really pushing that. And Bayfield is on the limit as they come up the front straight. He is pushing so hard. Trying to get himself in the top 4. Oh, Shallcross takes the wall coming out. Look at Bayfield up on the inside. Into the top of Pavement corner, side by side with Niesler. Now he has to get out of the throttle and wash us back. Trappy's coming forward. Robbie Trapp, the star of the car. The field comes through the bottom at Shallcross. Back to Rodney Pimenta. Campbell. Oh, Bayfield on the inside now. Big flame out of the back of Coomber's car. And Robert Trapp's coming home. Oh, Trappy got a healthy hand past Coomber. Trappy's now back onto there. Oh, Robert Trapp slides up inside Bayfield. Can he make it stick down the hill? Rodney Trapp is now in P5, looking to come forward into position 4. Oh, Trappy hits the wall out of the bottom. Oh, contact here on the main straight. Shane Langton, Coomber come together and the yellow lights come on. All right, green lights are on at Shallcross. Once again, lead to the right. Campbell looking for the room on the inside there of Rodney Pimenta, but look at Darryl Niesler. Niesler came from the clouds. Campbell back over the bottom. Problem then for, looks like Rodney Pimenta's car. Something just broke in that car and that car went forward. So the yellow lights come on again. Shallcross the lead away, Niesler, then back to Campbell. They all stack them up behind, and Robbie Trapp out a green run up to the center, but look at Bayfield back on the inside. Brendan Bayfield trying to get the run on Robert Trapp down there, and Campbell down the inside to Niesler. Oh, Niesler back on the inside. Look at Robert Trapp and Bayfield side by side at the bottom. Robbie Trapp's car. That car's not at all happy. Something coming out of the rear of that car as he came up out of the hairpin. Coomber on the outside. Shallcross is bolted out front. Campbell deep into the hairpin. And Robbie Trapp's car is limping. Something went bang. Come out of the hairpin. Robbie Trapp has got no drive at all. Yellow lights come on. And something went bang in that car as he come down. I looked at that car as it come up out of the hairpin and I thought something was definitely wrong with that ball, and I wasn't wrong. He was limping round through the top and something finally down the bottom just went cold and went out.
Yeah, I was just trying to keep it smooth, just going round and just circulating just to finish. And as I went into the hairpin, the Z-bar broke, but I think it was from an earlier accident and had weakened it, but yeah.
Oh, well, we should have been looking around the back, because have a look at that. Around goes Campbell. And it all happened with Royce Ursa as well.
Areas involved.
Made a terrible... All right, going to take the green this time. Shallcross coming up. Leads him away again. Darren Neesler, then back to Cooper and Brendan Mayfield. So Shallcross leads him through to the Pagel. And Campbell's going to have to come from the rear if he's going to find a way. The feature frustration getting the better as he comes down onto Collins at the rear. Shallcross a little bit better line out of the head this time, but the man is on the move is Brendan Mayfield. Cooper's come from nowhere. He sits in third. And once again, the car of Royce Urge gets a little sideways out of the top of Pagel. Shallcross. Look at Cooper and Mayfield. Mayfield looking on the inside. Cooper getting a little wide out of the top. Mayfield back on the inside. They take the run down to the hairpin. Bayfield hard onto the brakes into the bottom. And Cooper. Tell you what, Royce Urge is absolutely motoring. He is coming home strong. Down into the hairpin. And once again, Shallcross will lead Neesler. Second and third to decide it, but third's not. Look at Bayfield up the inside of Cooper. Cooper and Bayfield go out, and Royce Urge is going, all right, boys, I'll pick up the pieces as you come into the top of Pagel. Bayfield and Cooper side by side down into the hairpin. Oh, contact into the hairpin. These guys, it's a wrestling match coming out. Now Bayfield in third. 2 laps remaining. And have a look at Tischler. Here comes Royce Urge as well. Look at Tischler into the back of Cooper. The fourth place is under siege. Cooper into the boards. Tischler bouncing off Cooper. And the yellow lights come on. Checkered flag comes out. But the black flag's in someone's hand as well, and I can just about guess where that's going to go. Car number 4. Car number 4 showing the black flag. I don't know what lap we're going to go back to check on what the placings are. Paul, I might need you to actually let me know exactly who the last 3 places are going to be.
I'll do that exactly for you, Wes. I can tell you the man from Gladstone will not be very...
How does the reserve come out? Are we waiting for the reserve car? Or are we going to run the 21 cars instead? 21 cars, the lights are flashing. All right. 35 laps. And this is going to be one very hotly contested first series of corners. The best that they can muster. Hydraulic drilling services 35 lap. A-Main here in Mother Mountain. Raymond comes off pole. The outside of him is the car of Glenn Pagel. Michael Halley comes out of 3. Stevie Price out of 4. Milo out of 5. Stephen Downs out of 6. Dale Grother out of 7. Greg Walling out of 8. Hollyman Then back to the car of Adrian Stott, 35 laps, hydraulic drilling services, underway. Another round of look at Raymond, straight away Raymond. Underneath the car of Pagel, there's cars everywhere on the main straight. And Niesler's car has been torn up. Yellow lights, come on. That's actually smoke, guys. So I'll just get out of that. That smells a bit electrical too, just quietly. That's not nice. We'll have a bit of a closer look at that. Oh, it's a fair bit of... Doesn't look nice at all. Just have a look and see what the damage is. Just one of the, believe it or not, one of the oil gauge lines has come off, would you believe, Paul? Sprayed oil all up over everything. Unfortunately, that's the end of the night for Brendan Bayfield. The lights go out, we look for a restart again. So he rolls the car backwards, now out of the way. And Raymond and Pagel go back at it again. All righty. 35 laps in the hydraulic drilling services. Amen. Here, another round. Pagel got a great start that time. Raymond never going to give him an inch as he comes through the top of the round. Goes Michael Halley. And it's like 10-pin bowling coming out of Pagel's corner. The field starts to close up. Halley going to come back into position. It is just a tyre rubbing. Eventually one or two things will happen. It'll run out of rubber to run on it, and it just cut it then. So there goes the tyre down. So he's now lost the left-hand front. So it's eventually cut its way through on the strut on the front. So Stephen Price is ninth last round, and it's come just the uphill part of this circuit not suiting Little Rotary. He does not have the torque that the larger six-cylinder cars have that he races against. Give him a flat track and an open wind-up, and this Little Rotary is on the money. Stevie Price, left-hand front, flat on that car. They try and make their way through. Raymond very fast here, so is Halley. But into the bottom corner, it's Greg Raymond. And Glenn Pagel the leaders away. 35 laps here. Another round of hydraulic drilling services, feature race. Once again, Raymond and Pagel go side by side to the top of Pagel corner. Into the hairpin for the first time. Look at Wayne Miles Milo having a big look on the inside of Pagel. Pagel takes a long way out. The Kibbles car is straight here on the main track. Yellow lights are on. And Greg Walling. He's lost the boot. Now the right-hand rear quarter's coming off. He's going to run out of bits to take off this car, surely. So he's been told to go to the rear, no matter how much he wants to argue. It's no way in the world our Chief Steward's going to change his mind. I don't think black's Adrian's favourite colour at this stage. And onto the infield. And Walling's car looking very much unlike a race car at the moment. Still flashing. And we're trying to get the restart organised. There's no benefit in arguing. The lights going out looking for green. Into the bottom corner, still 35 laps the distance. Now drag drilling services are made, and once again it's Pagel. And Raymond going side by side. Pagel wins it into the top corner. Raymond doesn't back out. Down the hairpin, look how late Greg Raymond takes it to the bottom. Miles does the same. As the field now. Over the hairpin the first time. Albius for life from the rear. Growth are having a problem. Coming to the top part of that circuit. Gympie down, slips down the inside. Leroy does the same. Growth are trying to hang on to position. While Leroy's well done. Look at Raymond. He has come from nowhere. Dale Growth that comes out on the Brian Leroy. Leroy comes to the bottom of the hairpin. Very late on the brakes. Growth are nowhere to go. Into the back of Brian Leroy. Now Raymond makes it right up the main straight. Leroy into the birds. And the yellow lights come on. Lights are off. Everybody napping if they don't hurry up down the bottom. Taking green. Raymond then Pagel away. Wayne Miles sits back in third. Stevie Downs. And Aiden Raymond has come from nowhere and challenging for fourth place. Raymond quickly changed the gearbox at the start of the race. Really had the front go into his human speed and down, battle for fourth. Raymond wins out. So Raymond now in fourth place. Here comes Brian Leroy on the inside of Trappy there. Leroy makes a move, stick. Oh, Stephen Downs times the wall. Gary Morosky spinning. Cars going everywhere.
I think Luke Hollyman might be in trouble. Yeah, he's got one as well. He's going to the infield with you.
I'm starting to build a fan club on the infield here. Oh no, Adrian Stott's not a fan.
He's got this more friend. Hard luck there for Stevie Downs.
Oh no.
The concrete won't move. A lot of people have tried, but the concrete won't move.
The damage occurred as well when he was grinding himself into the wall. He caught the actual outgate too, Paul, and that did a lot of damage again. I didn't think of that. Don't know whether I can say that, but maybe true. In fact, I just had what you said confirmed by that man. Pagel, a very clever man. And then he shot 15. Restart happening. Raymond leads us away. Pagel and Miles chase. And Adam Raymond is on with the rhythm. So is Brian Leroy. The Pagel going around. Brian Leroy didn't get the run there he wanted, but Raymond and Miles have really closed in on the two cars out front. Look at the battle. It's Michael, Harry and Steven side by side finish line. So is Troy Blair at the bottom. Yellow lights are on. And Daryl Nisler down the bottom, I gather. You Falcon and this will go to the rear. The lights are off. We're looking for restarts. They come down to the hairpin. Raymond will take the green. Through the top of Pagel corner. Raymond sliding on the inside of Wade Miles, and now is up to third place from position 9 on the start. Raymond, in fact, Raymond is flying. Pagel is going to beat a Raymond sandwich very quickly. Zayden gets onto the back. Track's got a tiny bit slick up top. try and make the run on the inside. Where deep under brakes. Aiden's patience paying off. Oh, Raymond got turned as she tried to go past. Pagel slides past and now Raymond, all that good work undone. As he tried to pass the territory there. Greg Raymond now, Sean Ross and Zale in front. As they come through the top, Raymond picking up Zale very easily. Pagel comes down now. And Raymond looking for a way past. Slide back down on the inside. Zale out of the way. Zale's car nearly goes to a dead stop coming out of the hairpin. Glenn Pagel's got a second win. Pagel starts to close the gap on Greg Raymond. As Raymond looks away to the traffic. Quinn Clark having a moment in front of him. Raymond nervously out of the throttle. Pagel is still in this with a shot. The patience he has shown has been remarkable. As the two men land for final positions, it's Aiden Raymond who is suffering. Michael Halley is forcing his way through. And look at the body language of the car of Dale Grant. That's our race leader, Raymond. That's Brian Leroy's car in front of him as he's going to check. That is in fact Travis Barron. The Greg Raymond is now lapping. Oh, Morosky and Miles come together. Pagel is really starting to push the envelope. Brian Leroy, have a look at the temperature under the Corvette Queensland's car. The car is glowing red hot. That whole exhaust system is glowing. So something running very lean. Raymond comes down the back of the hairpin. Black flag for Dale Grant. The car of Brian Leroy team. Manifold glowing. Our race leader sits coming out of the corner. Comes down the hairpin, lapping the traffic. It is in fact yellow lights are on. And in fact, some ways I'm glad the yellow lights are on because really we're going to get some order to this. I know it's Greg Raymond, then back to Pagel, Aiden Raymond sitting further back. And then from then on, I'm not sure. May in fact be the car of Michael Halley. But look at this car of Dale Grothers. Everything on the left-hand front has just collapsed. You've got guys like Michael Halley pushing from behind. Very hard to compete with the horsepower of that big XF Falcon. All right, the green light is on. 7 laps remaining. There's Raymond, who's got the whole exhaust system of that car. Raymond's exhaust system just has fallen off that car at the front. Right from the extractors down. So Raymond has got no exhaust on that car at all. And he's only going to hang on for 6 more laps. Pagel. Pagel is absolutely flying. He knows there's a problem. He can hear it. Raymond has no exhaust on that car, and Pagel Look at Aiden Raymond now, looking to make a move on Pagel again. He's up on the inside. Yellow lights are on. And I don't understand why. I think I know why. But Greg Raymond has lost the complete exhaust from the extractors down. The whole slipper joints come off and forward. And it is dragging underneath his car. Pagel's car with a bit of body working up the back. So Quentin Clark will join my growing group of friends on the infield. The exhaust has slipped off the front. So from what I'm gathering, with the exhaust off the front of that car, it looks like it may be, in fact, our race leader. Oh, and that's exactly right. The car has speared itself on the tyre. Well, that's interesting. Looks like Greg Raymond's come back into the fray. Lights are out. Raymond's going to lead us away. Raymond lights are out. Pagel looking to run on the inside. Aiden Raymond chases him into Pagel corner, and Aiden Raymond walks past this very quickly. The broken exhaust on Raymond's car, it is noisy. Look at Pagel. That has not helped him. As Aiden Raymond slides up on the inside. Raymond and Pagel side by side. Aiden Raymond comes out on the inside. Now Aiden Raymond into second place. Will he run tailgater for his dad? Raymond's car. Greg Raymond sits out front. Aiden Raymond sits behind. And Pagel sits back in third. Michael Raymond's coming. One lap remaining. Greg Raymond's going for the one that yellow lights are on. And it looks like it is Troy Ware down on the hairpin. The checker was in the starter's hands. Now that exhaust is poking out the side of the car. And I can pretty much imagine where it's going to go to. The exhaust is poking directly out the side. Just going to see whether they can clear it. Well, there's that bit of pipe away. So we're going to see what's going to happen. There's no longer any fouling on that at all. Noisy as it may be. Where comes round with the restart. Look to get this underway. We will have 1 lap remaining, or is it 2, gentlemen? Well, Raymond's got to hang on for 1 more. He's going to have 1 big throw of the dice down here. Into the bottom corner they go, Raymond. Pagel, but it's going in. Green Raymond takes the win. Raymond in for second. And third will be the car of Glenn Pagel. But Greg Raymond comes into the infield here straight away. He has hung on for as long as he can. He won't get a chance to take the check around. But it's Team Green 1-2 here at Mother Mountain. As the rest of the field make their way through. And the Super Sedans come out for their feature race. Raymond sits here in the infield, but what a great result for Team Green. Karoy Wreckers 1 and 2, Paul. The reason why I can hear that flogging around so much is when that exhaust hit that tyre here, Paul, as it's come back up, it's in fact hit the tail shaft. It's now bent the tail shaft in Greg Raymond's car as well. It may not have lasted another lap. He was very happy to get out of it. But once again, Pagel hung on to hang on to third, but it was Team Green 1 and 2 up front, Paul.
Congratulations to the Karoy Auto Wreckers team and Greg Raymond. Aiden in for second. Down here to the green cars. Find out what's wrong with Aiden.
That's what I'm going to do. What wrong?
It's good to see the V8s back. Super Sedan Racing. We've missed them here on the mountain. Mark Pagel out there in car number 4. And he's been making those people in the Super Sedan rank stand up and take notice. Super Sedan Association member Peter Warren. Beautiful motor car number 18. Car number 75 is Paul Carlish. Chris Albert there in 77. Michael Jenner, another one out of the Super Sedan Association, car number 12. Beside him is Alex in car number 6. Car 7 is our own Jeff Bingham. Lee Noon is there in car number 46. Jet O'Keefe is in 35. And Alan Schultz is the other one, of course, in car number 17. Off and running in the Super Sedans for their first outing here tonight. And as he has done so for so many years, Mark Pagel hits the race lead as they head down the back chute. Peter Warren sets out after him in car number 18. Behind them in car 77 is Chris Albert. Car 6 is Alex Jenner. Paul Carlish would be the next one. We got a yellow light on because car 46 squeezed up against the concrete here. That's Lee Noon. That's the field as they roll through the hairpin. Looking for a green one and a start this time up the straightaway. Peter Warren tries to match it with Mark Pagel. Can't do it. Moves him aside. Look for the inside car 77 of Chris Albert. Working away on Peter Warren. No room there as they arrive at the hairpin for the first time. Mark Pagel, Peter Warren, we've got some problems with the Jenner cars. Brings on a yellow light. Might need some assistance. No, they're both going. Lights are out. We're going racing up the main straight away. Peter Warren again looks for the Acceleration on the outside, decides this time. I'll just tuck in behind Mark Bagel as they go through the top corner for the first time. Jeff O'Keefe is the big mover from the back of the pack. He's up there in position. Number 4 as Chris Albert overdoes things coming into the hairpin. We got Paul Carlish disappearing onto the infield. Coming out of the hairpin. And the Supers having trouble getting 3/4 of a lap done. Looks like we're going racing straight away. The lights out as they roll around, heading up the main straight. Green one off and running. Mark Bagel versus Peter Warren. Chris Albert is in car 77 and Jeff O'Keefe all over him. Back then in car number 12 would be Michael Jenner. That's the way they head up the main straight away. Mark Bagel. Too good at the moment for Peter Warren. Big gap back then to Chris Albert. Jeff O'Keefe back then to car number 12 of Michael Jenner, Alex Jenner. We got one nose first into the wall in the top corner. Is indeed Alan Schultz. Did the 360 in the top corner. Now he's got the thing mobile as the other cars flying start as they're through the hairpin, heading up the main straight away, off and running. Mark Bagel, Peter Warren, that's the way they go together. Peter Warren having a look down the inside. Mark Bagel closes the door on him. Back behind him then would be Chris Albert in front of Jeff O'Keefe. Next one is car 12 of Michael Jenner. That's the way they go through the hairpin and heading up the main straight away again. It's car number 4, the Mark Bagel machine. Over car 18 of Peter Warren, back then to Chris Albert. Next one is Jeff O'Keefe, who's come from the back of the pack to be in position number 4 in front of Michael Jenner, Alex Jenner. One in trouble again is Alan Schultz in car 17, but he's got it back running again, heading for the hairpin as we pick up Mark Bagel through the top corner. Over Peter Warren. Chris Albert gets the tail right around. Saves it though before Jeff O'Keefe arrives on the scene. Back to Michael Jenner and Alex Jenner. Through the dipper for Mark Bagel. And through the top corner he goes over Peter Warren. Long way back then to Chris Albert. The next one through would be Jeff O'Keefe in front of Michael Jenner. Alex Jenner would be the next one. Paul Carlish a long way back then. We've got to go to Alan Schultz it is in car 17. They've got a lap and a half to go. Mark Bagel and Peter Warren, and they've run right away from the rest of the field up the main straight away. Mark Bagel, Peter Warren. Long way back then to car number 77 of Chris Albert and Jeff O'Keefe. Peter Warren not far away as they arrive at the hairpin for the last time, but Mark Bagel will take advantage of starting out of position number 1 and takes it out from Peter Warren. Long way back then to Chris Albert. The next one across the line would have been Jeff O'Keefe in 35. Back behind him was Michael Jenner, Alex Jenner, Paul Carlish, and the last one to greet the judge will be Alan Schultz. Just waiting for a few of the cars at the back to get up there with them. Ty Jones out there to make sure everything's going all right with the modified, so he's not in this event, but just to make sure everything's right this time with the power steering on the car as they head up the main straight away. Look for a green one away and running, and it's Mark Bagel. But the thing washes a little bit in the first corner. Lee Noon tries to hold on down on the inside. Hunting through there too in car number 12. Here's Michael Jenner. Alex Jenner coming through. Peter Warren caught out wide. Lee Noon holds on to position number 2. Mark Bagel. Lee Noon holds on to 2. Chris Albert going very wide up towards the concrete. In there is Peter Warren holding on to position number 3. We go back then to Michael Jenner. Alex Jenner is there along with Alan Schultz through the hairpin. It's Mark Bagel putting some distance between himself and the rest of the pack. Lee Noon chasing hard. Peter Warren backs it through the canteen corner, but can't get past Lee Noon at the moment. Working away down on the inside, pulls level and drives past him into position number 2 and sets sail after Mark Pagel. Back then is Lee Noon in position number 3. Behind him is Chris Albert. We go to car number 6 of Alex Jenner, leading Michael Jenner, who's got Jeff O'Keefe down on the inside of him. Alan Schultz and Paul Carlish has had enough with Jeff Bingham at the tail of the field. It's by how far at the moment for Mark Pagel. Peter Warren just setting out after him, but doesn't seem to be able to close the gap. Back then to Lee Noon, who's holding a good and comfortable 3rd place to the better of Chris Albert. Back then would be Alex Jenner as Mark Pagel moves up on Jeff Bingham. Moves underneath him, heads down the back chute. Peter Warren is the next one behind to put a lap on Jeff Bingham. We've got one of the yellow cars around sideways. It's car number 12, Michael Jenner, and he's parked it across the racetrack. As the rest of the field arrives, the yellow light comes on. And we've declared the event at that stage, so Mark Pagel takes it out. 2 from 2 for him. Peter Warren will hold on to position number 2, and I think Lee Noon, after a pretty bad old excursion in the first heat, finds himself in position number 3 in the second heat of the Super Sedans here tonight on the mountain for the HDS Modified Production Series. Water truck, the Percy Becker water truck out there just to settle the dust after the Super Sedans before the juniors make their way back onto the racetrack for the start of their 3rd round. I know they move around. Line them up, lights are out, ready to go. Off and running, and on the outside, Chris Albert looking for the lead for us. They head towards the top corner. Alex Jenner can't do anything about it. Chris Albert's got the car sideways in the top corner now. Alex Jenner is able to move down the inside, try and keep Chris Albert out nice and wide. Alex Jenner and Chris Albert side by side heading up the main straightaway at the completion of one lap. Chris Albert throws the car sideways and into the race lead he goes from Alex Jenner. Michael Jenner will be the next one, and Mark Pagel's behind him. Lee Noon in front of Peter Warren. Back then to Jeff O'Keefe in front of Jeff Bingham. At the back is Alan Schultz as they head up the main straightaway, and Alex Jenner has got car 6 back into the race lead. Alex Jenner is the race leader from Chris Albert. Mark Pagel around the outside of Michael Jenner in the top corner he goes. Lee Noon would be the next one in front of Peter Warren. Through the hairpin and up the main straightaway for Alex Jenner. In car number 6 is the race leader. To the better of Chris Albert. Can Mark Pagel run him down? He's closing the gap very quickly. The next one behind would be Michael Jenner. Down the outside of Chris Albert he goes. Mark Pagel's up to second place. Chris Albert moves back on the inside. Can he do something about it? No, in fact, he's going to fall back into the grips of Michael Jenner. They're all chasing Alex Jenner. Chris Albert back there in third. Michael Jenner, Peter Warren looking for the inside move. Next one would be Lee Noon and Jeff O'Keefe. In the hairpin is our race leader. That's Alex Jenner. Mark Pagel hunting him down. Looking for the outside pass as they complete another lap of the journey. Right on his hammer with Chris Albert in all sorts of trouble, holding up Michael Jenner. Here comes Peter Warren, straight down the inside and into position number 3. Now we'll be looking to close up the gap on the race leader in Alex Jenner and Mark Pagel. Only the 2 laps remaining as they're coming quickly on Jeff Bingham. Have a look at Mark Pagel. Picked his time and just drove straight around the outside of Alex Jenner into the race lead. Peter Warren now sets sail. Can he catch up with the lead cars? Back to Chris Albert. Michael Jenner in front of Jeff O'Keefe as they're coming up on Jeff Bingham. That's Mark Pagel, the race leader. Alex Jenner back in second place. Peter Warren, I don't think he can make it up from back there in third. They're on the tail of Jeff Bingham, who moves out, allows Mark Pagel through underneath. Alex Jenner goes through as well. And the next one home would have been Peter Warren from Chris Albert in front of Michael Jenner. Mark Pagel, too good. Clean sweep from Alex Jenner. Michael and Alex Jenner would be the next ones. Jeff O'Keefe's in 35. Alan Schultz is in 17. Lee Noon is in 46. Paul Carlish is in 75 and Jeff Bingham at the back for the Super Sedan feature. Right into it. And there won't be much soil left on the racetrack, but the Super Sedan settle down to fight it out. And as we said, Mark Pagel versus Peter Warren, that's what it's going to be up the front. Mark Pagel leads the way. Peter Warren tucked in behind him. Then we've got Chris Albert. Back then to Jeff O'Keefe and then a couple. Look out, Lena and round the wrong way. Well, Super Sedans deciding they're going to put on a bit of problem. Started with the 2 Jenner cars. Getting themselves locked together. Michael Jenner in 12, Alex Jenner in 6. Right, just get rid of some of the panels off the back of number 12 of Michael Jenner. And he will rejoin. Lights are out, so coming around for a restart. Mark Pagel versus Peter Warren. Off and running again. Peter Warren has a look down the inside. It's not there. Chris Albert's going with them this time. Jeff O'Keefe is in there along with Michael Jenner. Back then to Alan Schultz. That's the way they arrive at the hairpin for the restart. Mark Pagel leads them up the main straight away. Peter Warren in car number 18. Back behind them then in car 77 is Chris Allen, the better of Michael Jenner. Trouble is Lee Noon up onto the infield in car 46 and will take no further part in the event. Up the main straight away again for Mark Pagel in car number 4 from Peter Warren. And those two have been away from Chris Albert in 77. Jeff O'Keefe there in 35. Next car is car 12 of Michael Jenner to the better of Alan Schultz. And Alex Jenner at the rear. Up the main straight away yet again in the Super Sedan feature. And Mark Pagel and Peter Warren have been at it all night, Hammer and Tom. The others haven't been able to get within Kiwi of them. And again in the feature race, Mark Pagel running away with it. Peter Warren chasing him in a big gap. Back there to Chris Albert, who's locked in battle with Jeff O'Keefe in car 35. The yellow lights are on. As we've got Alan Schultz, it is. Lights are gone out. We're going racing straight away. Mark Pagel, Peter Warren continue to battle up the front as they go through the canteen corner and the dipper and up to the top corner. Mark Pagel. Peter Warren is all over him, but he can't get by. Towards the hairpin they go again. It's Mark Pagel to the better of Peter Warren. Back behind them is Chris Albert. In there then is Jeff O'Keefe along with Michael Jenner and Alex Jenner. And Alan Schultz is in the back, in amongst all the dust. Down the back shoot again for Mark Pagel, who's starting to, he and Peter Warren move away again from Chris Albert. Back in fourth position is still Jeff O'Keefe, but he's got no way of closing the gap. Behind them is Michael Jenner and Alex Jenner. And Alan Schultz, and the leader goes down the back chute. Yet again, that's Mark Pagel. Head of the hairpin, he goes to the better of Peter Warren. They've dropped off Chris Albert and Jeff O'Keefe. Top corner, and Mark Pagel now beginning to put a bit of a gap between himself and Peter Warren. Big gap then to Chris Albert in front of Jeff O'Keefe, Michael Jenner, Alex Jenner, and Alan Schultz. No change in the feature race for Super Sedans. Mark Pagel through the hairpin and up the main straightaway to the better of Peter Warren, who's of Jeff O'Keefe, Michael Jenner, Alex Jenner, Alan Schultz at the rear. Up the main straightaway, it's still Mark Pagel. It comes number 4, Peter Warren doesn't be able to close the gap on him. Chris Albert safe in position number 3 with Michael Jenner trying desperately to get up a bit closer to Jeff O'Keefe, unable to do so. They've dropped off Alex Jenner, and right at the back is Alan Schultz. So the laps tick away in the Super Sedan feature event. No change to the running of the cars as Mark Pagel heads up the main straightaway yet again. In car number 4 to the middle of Peter Warren. Long way back then to Chris Albert in car number 7. And he holds Jeff O'Keefe, Michael Jenner, Alex Jenner on the journey. He's got 2 more to go from Peter Warren. Long way back in third place to Chris Albert, Jeff O'Keefe, Michael Jenner, Alex. It's the right way again. Mark Pagel got 1 lap of the mountain to go to the better of Peter Warren. Long way back then to Chris Albert. Up the main straightaway, checkered flag time for Mark Pagel. In front of Peter Warren, we'll wait for Chris Albert to complete the journey in position number 3 for the better of Jeff O'Keefe and to Michael Jenner. Alex Jenner is car number 6, and Alan Schultz the last one to greet the judge. Good win to Mark Pagel. Clean sweep on the night. Peter Warren in for position number 2 and Chris Albert. It was in